Ladies and gentlemen, it is Tuesday, November 4th, 2025, and here's what's coming up on the ON Report today. Well, it is election night. We've got elections all over the country. People are voting right now. You might be voting right now as you're listening to this in New York City, in Virginia, in New Jersey, or all across the country. Here in Texas, we've got some proposals on the ballot. They're trying to raise our taxes again. We're going to be shutting that down, hopefully. I can only wish you the same fate should you have similar bills, similar proposals on your ballots in whatever state you're in. And who knows? Who knows if there was even any voter outreach. I can tell you here in Travis County, there was virtually zero. As far as Texas is concerned, virtually zero. And we're talking about tax increases on the ballots that would be a game changer. It would change your bottom line. And barely any outreach. Is it like that around the country? I have seen the Republicans do one thing. I have seen the Republicans really focused to get out the vote for a Democrat in New York. That's right. That's where they're all focused. Of course, Winsome Sears in Virginia, Chitterelli in New Jersey. We'll be following this. We may have results. We might be getting early results before it's all said and done here today. So we'll be monitoring that. And then it is record government shutdown eve. Now, the Democrats, there are rumors, might be more willing to reopen the government after the elections tonight. If it's just a political stunt that they think is going to help them win tonight, then they may be more willing to reopen tomorrow. John Fetterman, though. John Fetterman was just on Fox News talking about the shutdown and trying to get some other Democrats across the finish line. There's two Democrats, Democrat senator in Nevada and then Pennsylvania, Fetterman. Folks, I'm not trying to be mean. I feel bad for the guy. He's had some brain issues. He's had a stroke or whatever's wrong with John Fetterman. He's kind of literally retarded. And it's painful to listen to this guy talk. It's like he can't talk, he can't think. And yet he seems to be more reasonable, I guess, than the rest of the Democrats. But I'm cheering for the shutdown to go record. I'm cheering for it. So we'll see what happens at the end of the night with the elections. And then tomorrow, if the Democrats don't decide, okay, elections are over, we'll go ahead and reopen. Now, a couple things going unnoticed today, like what's really going on with the economy. I've got a wild story about the Federal Reserve that nobody seems to be talking about. Donald Trump wants to end the filibuster. We talked about that yesterday. The big issue isn't going anywhere. It continues to divide the American right, and that is on foreign policy. Okay, but I keep getting these invites to do debates, and it's so old. The debate has already been had. Either you want to support a foreign country or you don't. That's it. That's kind of the debate. But it continues, and I've got more updates on that story today, and then some snap. We got some snap stories. We may revisit. I said I would revisit some of the wildness from over the weekend at the Republican Jewish Coalition that made all the headlines and got a bunch of attention. So we may revisit that. We do have it on the desk. We do have a story out of the FBI with Kash Patel flying around on a jet and people having an issue with that. And then we got a little more, some of the old style kind of conspiracy stuff. Coming from a great musician in Europe, talking about the type of rituals you have to go through if you want to be successful in the music industry. So, we'll have that for you today. And I might even give you a prediction. I might even tell you what I think is going to happen in just a few hours with these elections tonight. All that and more on today's ON Report.
This news update was brought to you by OwenSchroyer.store, the official site for ON Report merchandise.
On the cutting edge of news and analysis, the Owen Report with Owen Schroyer.
Here's a question for you. Will there ever be normal in politics ever again? Will there ever be any sense of normality, or that we can get back to some standard of normality? Or is this just it now? It's just everything's crazy, everything's insane. Sellouts on all sides, propaganda agents on all sides, foreign agents on all sides. And then the people that remain consistent in their logic, in their principles, continue to be attacked from all sides. And that's just the phenomenon of the individual that decides to get into the political arena. The whole thing is crazy, I gotta say. And then you got Marjorie Taylor Greene on The View, and we've got some of those clips. In fact, that reminds me, there's one more I need to pull up here. And there's something I think we can learn from Marjorie Taylor Greene on The View. There's something I think we can learn here. And it's something that I guess conservatives have forgotten. It's definitely worse now. It's definitely worse now than it was in 2016. Now, I don't think I pulled it up in my final stack, but I did share it last night on X. And it is a post from Ben Shapiro in 2016 where he makes a list basically of all the Trump supporters. He makes a list of all the Trump supporters. And I'm saying, because these are the bad people, right? These are the people in 2016 that supported Trump when the Ben Shapiros, the Mark Levins, the conservative establishment, Conservative Inc., mainstream Republican Party, they wanted you to either vote for Jeb Bush or Marco Rubio or a Ted Cruz, whoever else was out there at the time. I think John Kasich was out there. You can't even remember all these guys. I think John Kasich has a job at MSNBC now. I don't know. I see him on there a lot. But these were the same people that are attacking you today over a foreign policy dispute. These are the same people that were attacking you in 2016 for supporting Trump. So what I want to do here, and the point of this, the segue here was that it seems that conservatives, it's worse than 2016, but it seems like conservatives now, and I've got ample evidence of this, you have this entire wing of conservatives now. You have this entire box of right-wingers now that are more afraid of speech than of anything else. They're more afraid of speech. And there's so many examples of this. I'm going to go to a lot of it today, but I see the response to Marjorie Taylor Greene on The View, and people are taking what she says out of context. They're blatantly lying about what she says. But, you know, I would put it like this. And I was thinking about putting this out in a post on X, because I want to just do kind of like, let's just draw back. For somebody that's listening to this that is maybe a little overwhelmed by it all, right? I mean, the stakes are high, the temperature is high. Everyone's a Nazi and a hater this and an ist that and a bigot there and a phobe here. And it's like, all right, let's just pump the brakes. Not everybody's that invested in politics. They can kind of see what's going on, and maybe they need just kind of a general explainer of it. So we're going to do kind of a general explainer, but I see it now on the right. They are now more afraid, and they have a more visceral reaction to speech or to people who aren't even involved in politics. They're not even politicians. They're just commentators. And they're directing more of their energy and focus and attention on commentators and pundits than they are on elected politicians and demanding results. They're more energized, demanding that people be deplatformed or destroyed than they are actually demanding results from the politicians that they elected. So let me make two general statements. You're listening to this. You're not that politically involved. You're not in the trenches every day. It's all very confusing. You're not sure what to believe. So let me just draw back and just tell you what's going on. And for some people, I have to say this because I think it's hard. This is something you have to consciously do. You can't do this. Some people can do this automatically. Others have to consciously do this. Remove your own opinions, your own emotions, your own stances on the issues, and just listen to what I'm saying. This is what's going on. So I'm not giving you my opinion. This is not about persuasion. This is about what's going on, two fronts. You want to understand what all the noise is about, what all the static is about? Let me explain it to you on two fronts. Why did you have, I'm using Ben Shapiro as an example because he remains one of the big names on the right, and it's just kind of a good case example to study to understand the larger phenomenon here. Why did Ben Shapiro and his ilk, we call them neocons, why were they anti-Trump in 2016? Well, the simple answer is because they couldn't control him. They couldn't control Trump. And Trump came in as kind of a renegade, kind of a rogue, not polished, not politically correct. And for people like me, anti-establishment types, anti-government types, we don't trust anybody types, screw the government types, we liked that. It resonated with us immediately. We immediately jumped on board. We said, let's see how far we can take this. While the Republican establishment and the neocons were doing everything to stop Trump from getting in. So they tried to demonize Trump at the time. The same media complex that is now, I guess, fully behind Trump, but I don't think that's fair to say. But for the sake of this conversation, they were all anti-Trump at the time. They were doing everything they can to stop Trump from getting in. Well, obviously, they lost. Trump won. The people that supported Trump won. And then they got him across the finish line for 3 elections, 2 victories. And so now what's happened? Why is it now that the people from 2016 that hated Trump, that were never Trump, why is it now that they love Trump? Well, because their rich friends came in and they bought access and influence. And the average Trump supporter from 2016 was grassroots. The average Trump supporter from 2016, the average MAGA hat wearer, was organic, was middle class, lower class, the people, the salt of the country. Well, we don't really have billions of dollars. We don't really have massive political action committees behind us. We don't have big lobbying firms behind us. So we have us. And at one point we had Trump. But Ben Shapiro and his rich friends, the lobbying firms, the political action committees, the billionaires, they came in and they bought the access and the influence. So that's why they love Trump now. That's why they're gatekeeping MAGA now, because they just came in and bought it. Simple as that. They just came in and they bought it. And they have the money to do so, so they did. So now they love Trump. And I don't even think that this is up for debate. I think Trump is very transparent about this. He has been since 2016. He tells you, politicians are for sale. He talks about how he donated to everyone on the stage when he was at the debates. He said, yeah, I donated to everyone here. They all come to me. They all ask for favors. That's how the game is played. So now the people are coming to Trump and they're buying favors. They're buying influence. They're buying access. And it's the same people that were anti-Trump from 2016. Okay. So that's kind of the more cultural, that's the more social rift that's happening right now is the Never Trumpers have now bought the MAGA movement. They've paid for the influence. They've paid for the access. And now they're kicking all the original 2016 red hat wearing Trump supporters out. And if you're not willing to go quietly, and if you're not willing to go willingly, then they're going to attack you. They're going to try to character assassinate you, try to smear you, and make sure that you can't have any influence in the political void that President Trump is going to leave behind in 2028. So they're trying to destroy you before 2028 because they know this void is going to be filled by somebody, by some group, by some ideology, by some new movement. And so they're trying to make sure that they fill that void. The same people that we beat in 2016, the same people that just buy access and influence in D.C., it's the corrupt establishment, to put it simply, on the right, that have their own interests, special interests, foreign interests, whatever it is. Okay, so that's kind of the cultural social rift that we have going on. Now, from just a pure political perspective, the big debate within the right, and you could probably argue at large in American politics, but for the sake of what we're doing here today, we'll just talk about on the right. The big debate is a foreign policy debate. And it all kind of centers around Israel. Israel has the most gravity, and there's a reason for that. Israel is the biggest benefactor of foreign aid and military aid, and Israel has one of the biggest, loudest, well-funded lobbying groups, political action committees in the United States of America. And it doesn't help that you've got all of these people in Congress and all of these people in your local governments and all of these people on social media that fly Israeli flags and talk about how much they love Israel, kind of just rubbing your nose in it is what that is. So this irks the more patriotic American. This irks the America First American. This irks the vast majority of Americans that have no emotion or sentiment or connection to Israel at all. None. Really couldn't care less. Just kind of a thing out there politically, whatever, another thing we fund, another ally, whatever. They're not really invested. But now we're to this point, the U.S. economy not doing so good. Foreign policy has been a disaster for decades. And we're just saying, hey, enough is enough. This hasn't worked. We want to stop. Then the Israeli lobby comes in and says, no, absolutely not. And anybody that tries to cut these connections off will be eliminated from the Republican Party. So then you kind of get back into the cultural, social stuff. But that's the political stuff. The America First movement, the MAGA movement, they don't want foreign aid. They don't want foreign entanglements. They don't want foreign wars. They're sick of it all. They're sick of it all. And then every time it's like, we can finally maybe stop this stuff, here comes the same Israeli lobby saying not so fast. Why do you think you got Iran strikes before you got deep state arrests? So that's just kind of your general what's going on. Now you can decide where do you lie in all of that. You can decide you don't want to get involved in all of that. Wouldn't blame you for that either. But that's your general perspective. Now, if history tells us anything, and I've been saying this for years, so I'll stand by it. I still think I'm right. If history tells us anything, where this is all going is these issues will dominate the midterms. We'll see based off of the results tonight where the conversation goes. But really, it's going to become a big talking point in the midterms. And then there's a lot of time between now and then, but it could be the issue in the 2028 presidential elections. The issue that decides the elections, which I've already said has happened before. Barack Obama won because he was against the wars in the Middle East. Donald Trump won because he was against the wars in the Middle East. So the next president is going to win in 2028 because they're going to be against the wars in the Middle East, except this time the rhetoric, the narrative, the focus is going to be on Israel. It's going to be way more directed instead of just general foreign policy on the Middle East. It's going to be directed solely at Israel. So this is inevitable. And if history tells us anything, it's that now kind of the anti-establishment, which is one way to put it, but it's really just the new generational rise, the new generational right, kind of like the new generational left, but the new generational right is winning. And it's really just a matter of time before they fully take over the party, and the policies of the boomer generation and the older generation are no longer popular, and no candidate will stand with them because you can't win an election with them. So that's kind of your general takeaway. That's just kind of your general, here's what's going on. So if you were confused and wondering why it's so crazy out there, that's kind of your general thing. Now, before I get into some of the news here and some of these clips, this is the situation tonight. Now, if you've got a local election, that's on you to figure out what propositions or what's going on in your elections. And you do have to be wise, because these crooked politicians, they love to write these propositions so that you can't even understand them. So it's like you have to sit there and read them 5 times to even know what you're voting on. You know what I'm talking about. So I would go in well-researched, knowing what you're going to vote for before you go in there. But let's talk about the big elections. New York City mayor, New Jersey, and Virginia governor. So I'm looking at this. I'm saying 3:26 Central Time on Tuesday, November 4th. I'm saying Mamdani wins. I think he'll get just over a majority. I think it'll be barely, but I think maybe he finishes in around 51%. I think he'll get just enough of a majority to win. Now, in the aftermath, fingers are going to start being pointed everywhere. And it's really incredible to watch these Republicans sell themselves down the drain. And to be fair here, I understand political pragmatism. I myself am a proponent of political pragmatism. I've spoken against political purism for years. I've called political purism a cancer for years. But I find it ironic that these same groups that are willing to scapegoat, and these same groups that are willing to cast out all of these new people on the right, all of these younger generation people on the right, they're willing to throw you overboard in the name of political purity. But then they'll go out there and they'll tell you to vote for Andrew Cuomo in the name of political practicality, in the name of political pragmatism. So where's the consistency here? Do you want to be politically pragmatic, or do you want to be politically pure? Because if you want to be politically pragmatic, you're going to have to open up the party. And yes, that means opening up the party to people that you don't like. That means opening up the party to people that you disagree with, even vehemently. That means opening up the party to win elections to people that you even have issues with. That would be political pragmatism. So you can say, hey, I don't like this person over here, and I don't like where they stand on that. But you know what? They vote Republican, and their followers vote Republican, and we need to maintain this populist movement. We need to maintain this voter bloc. So even though I don't like them, we vote the same, and so be it. No, they say, we don't want your vote. We don't want you in the party. We don't want you anywhere near us. We fully disavow you. Get out of here. Because they're so politically pure. But then here comes an election, and they say, I'm going to vote for Andrew Cuomo, the Democrat, and I'm going to campaign for Andrew Cuomo, the Democrat. Because of political pragmatism. So which one is it? Take your pick. Is it political purism, or is it political pragmatism? Or do you just decide based off of what your real core issue is? And thus the revelation. And thus the realization that everybody is now having. It was never about conservative politics. It was never about fiscal responsibility. It was never about Make America Great Again. Hell, it was never even about Donald Trump. It was always about foreign policy. And it was always about a single nation in the Middle East. It was always about their loyalty and their love for a foreign country. That's what it was always about. And now everybody's seeing it. Now it's never been more obvious. So I understand thinking, and it's not the right thought in its practice. I understand thinking that, oh, it's politically pragmatic to get behind Cuomo. But I will tell you, if Sliwa took money from AIPAC, and if Sliwa came out waving an Israeli flag, and if Sliwa came out and talked about how important Israel is, they'd all be backing Sliwa. But because he doesn't do that, and because Cuomo does, they're all backing Cuomo. And that is the fact. I don't want to hear this complaint about, oh, he's a socialist. I don't want to hear it. Your whole country is socialist. All the foreign aid that you support, that's socialist. The welfare state, all of it. You're already in a socialist country. I don't hear any of you complaining about 33% of the taxes, 33% of the money you make getting taxed. I don't hear any of you complain about that. You only complain about one thing and one thing only. So don't sit here and act like you care about Mamdani being a socialist. The whole damn country is socialist, and that's what we're trying to stop. And you abandon that movement because you care about a foreign country in the Middle East. So when this thing is said and done, and I've got more evidence of this when we finally get into the news, watch what they do to Curtis Sliwa. Watch what they do. It's going to be disgusting. You are going to see an absolutely vicious and absolutely resentful smear campaign and character assassination of Curtis Sliwa if Mamdani wins tonight. And you know what? However you feel about that election or Sliwa, the individuals that are going to be doing this, you're the reason why people can't stand Republicans. You look at the things that Mark Levin has been saying lately. These are the reason why people can't stand Republicans. Because of war whores and war hawks drenched in blood and asking for more. People can't stand it. They're sickened by it. It disgusts them. Even if they know the Republicans have better policy. Even if they feel that the general attitude of the right wing is more relatable to them than what is on the left, they see a psychotic individual like Mark Levin representing the party, and they want nothing to do with it. And I have to sit here and watch all these people. Nick Fuentes is going to destroy the Republican movement. Nick Fuentes is going to destroy the right. I guarantee you, Ben Shapiro and Mark Levin and their obsession with war in the Middle East on behalf of a foreign country and their loyalty to a foreign country, that hurts the Republican Party more than Nick Fuentes could ever even imagine or try to do. That is the fact. That is the fact. And everything else is total rejection of this fact. Everything else is denial of this fact, and you're about to relive the exact same thing that we just went through in 2016, where they're stunned that they can't overwhelm Trump. They're stunned that they can't beat those that support Trump, even though they're politically incorrect. So then they crash out after a loss, and then they just buy the political movement that just beat them. You'll likely probably witness the exact same thing happen again. So you're going to see just absolute disgusting character assassinations of Sliwa if Mamdani wins tonight, which I think he will. I think he'll just get a majority barely. And they'll say, see? And these have to be the most disingenuous, dishonest actors I've ever seen. Mamdani beat Cuomo in the primary. Cuomo should have dropped out. Sliwa won his primary. Do the Republicans not get to run anybody? And then you'll see them complain. You'll see them complain and say, well, gee, Sliwa wasn't a good candidate. Well, golly gee, I wonder why nobody wants to run as a Republican in New York City. I can't figure it out. Oh, I don't know. Maybe because they get no help from the GOP. Maybe because the conservative establishment media attacks you. Maybe because they just endorsed a Democrat instead of a Republican. And then you're going to see the character assassinations. And they'll say, I don't understand. Why can't New York City get a Republican? I don't understand. Why won't a good candidate run for Republican in New York? Because look at how you treat the ones that do. Nobody wants to deal with you guys. You guys are the worst. You want to know the truth? This is where it's at right now. These voices on the right are, the woke right is now worse by far than the woke left, and it's not even close. Now, most of that has to do with the power that they wield. The woke left has no power, so it's a meaningless cause at this point. It's a meaningless endeavor. The woke right is more insufferable. The woke right is more filled with hatred and vitriol. The woke right is more closed-minded, narrow-minded, and visionless than anything we've seen from the woke left. And I'm speaking from experience. And now they're defending death because they have to, because they're woke. They have no choice but to defend death. The woke will always end up defending death. So now they're endorsing Cuomo and defending him killing people in a nursing home, literally. Now I'll get back to that. I look at New Jersey, I look at Virginia, and I'm thinking, Jack Ciattarelli's got to win. How can he not win? You look at Winsome Sears, another one that's just like, how does she not win? But I don't know. Those races seem to be toss-ups. And I think it's going to go like this, regardless of who wins. If Ciattarelli and Winsome Sears win tonight, that will be the best news the Republicans have had politically since last year when Trump won. It would be the best news. That would be huge. It would tell them that no matter where Trump's approval ratings are at, the Republicans can still win elections in a midterm. So that would be great news for the Republicans if Ciattarelli and Winsome Sears win tonight. Now, if they lose, big trouble, folks. Big trouble. That will be the sign that the midterms are not looking so good. That'll be your first real sign that the midterms are not looking good. More so than what happens in New York City. And I'm not going to be surprised one bit. I won't be surprised one bit that Republicans don't show up to vote. Wouldn't surprise me one bit. There's a lot of resent now on the right towards the right-wing establishment. A lot of people on the right feeling extremely disenfranchised. They're feeling let down. They don't want to go vote. That will translate to the midterms. And now you've got big trouble. And I think Trump is starting to smell it because he said virtually the exact thing today. Now, I remember earlier this summer when we were warning, when we were warning that the Republicans were going to lose the midterms, we were called panicans. Remember that? They even coined a word. They coined a word to stick on our foreheads and demonize us. They called us panicans because we said, hey, at this rate, the Republicans will lose the midterms. Well, now President Trump is saying it. Someday you'll see things my way. Always remember that, folks. Someday you'll see things my way. So now they're admitting we were right. There will be no apology tours. We're just right about everything. They're just far behind us. So now they're realizing, oh, crap, we could be in trouble in the midterms. Oh, yeah, that's right. Remember we were warning you about that? You called us panicans. And now you say you don't need us. Good luck. Good luck. And then the redistricting that's taking place. And it looks like the Democrats are going to try to nullify the redistricting that the Republicans do. And that would also be bad news for the midterms. If you're Republicans, if they can nullify that, they can probably take the House. Now, President Trump urges Republicans to kill filibuster, warning they'll lose if they don't. You know, I understand Trump's mindset here. I do. And it's not, I don't mind it. I don't hate this mindset from Trump. I disagree with it. And I'm against it. But I do understand it. Trump is sitting here saying, all right, I've only got so much time. I've only got so much time to do this. And if the Democrats are going to filibuster every opportunity to stall our agenda, then we're going to get crushed. And now it's looking like we're going to lose the midterms. Now my window of time has shrunk even more. Now my window of time has virtually been cut in half. So the panicans were right, and now the reality is starting to hit home. So I understand why Trump is thinking this way, but obviously you have to weigh the consideration. What are the Democrats going to do if you kill the filibuster? Because there's nothing radical about this Republican Party. If they were actually doing stuff to drain the swamp, if they were actually doing stuff to arrest the deep state, if they were actually doing stuff to save the country, and they said, hey, we need to get rid of the filibuster, we're trying to save the country here, then I might support it. But they're not doing any of that. They're not getting rid of the filibuster so we can see the Epstein client list and arrest the pedophiles. They're not getting rid of the filibuster so we can have these forensic audits with Doge of all the money that's been stolen and laundered from the American taxpayer. They're not filibustering so we can't get down to the bottom of the truth of who and how they stole the 2020 election. They're not using the filibuster to stop us from investigating the creation of the bioweapon known as COVID-19. They're not using the filibuster to stop us from looking into what happened on January 6th, what FBI agents were involved, who planted the pipe bombs, going after the people that arrested and put people in prison for their political beliefs. They're not doing any of that. So I don't support the filibuster. If you were doing that stuff, if you were engaging in political action that was actually saving the country, if you were doing a massive tax break, a massive tax cut, they say, oh, we're doing tax cuts. Stop it. Stop it. Whatever tax cuts you think you've done, nobody feels them. Nobody's feeling the weight. Nobody's feeling the impact. It's a virtual and nothing. So if you were actually doing MAGA stuff, if you were actually doing the change agent stuff that we voted for you to be doing, and you said, hey, I need to end the filibuster to get this done, I've got a very short window of time to save this country, then I might be more willing to accept it. I might be more willing to say, you know what, go ahead and end the filibuster. But you're not doing that. Not even close. So how can we not have a little more foresight here? If we kill the filibuster, to do what? To do what, by the way? To do what? If we kill the filibuster to do what do you think the Democrats are going to do? They will do everything. They will change the entire political system. They will change every rule. They will pack the Supreme Court. If you get rid of the filibuster, as soon as the Democrats get into power, you will regret it. Now, if you were doing things to clean up D.C. and to stop political corruption and maybe even put some fear into those bastard Democrats, then I could see the reason for supporting the filibuster, ending the filibuster. But you're not doing any of that, so there's no point in ending the filibuster. Horrible idea. It will come back to bite you 100%. And tell me why. See, this is the big admission. Trump urges Republicans to kill filibuster, warning they'll lose if they don't. Maybe I can get the actual full statement from Trump. I don't think they have it here. But he basically says they'll lose the midterms. He says they will lose the midterms. So you understand what's happening here. Trump urges Republicans to kill filibuster, warning they'll lose if they don't. It's like, what have we been saying? What happened to I'm so tired of winning? What happened to, oh, we're winning, everything's great, everything's great. Oh, you're a black pillar. Oh, you're a pessimist. Oh, you're anti-Trump. All this stuff, on and on and on. And then here's President Trump like, okay, crap, we're losing. Now, this is a general practice to put into your head. If you react to the same piece of information, if you react to the same fact, if you react to the same information differently from a different source, so if your reaction to a piece of information is different depending on the source, you're not a free thinker. You're brainwashed. If a piece of information, depending on who delivers it to you and how it's framed, that's what you gauge your reaction to that information off of, you're not a free thinker, you're brainwashed. So when I come out and I say, Republicans are not winning, and now you're on pace to lose the midterms, I get attacked, I'm called a panicking. Now President Trump comes out and says it, and now they're all on board saying we need to end the filibuster. None of you are free thinkers. You're all brainwashed. I'm sorry. I'm trying to help you. I'm trying to free your mind. Okay? I'm trying to save the country, and I'm trying to get you on the team to do it. And if you can't see this, if you can't see that if I deliver you the exact same message and you reject it, but when Trump delivers it to you, you accept it, I don't know what you call that. But you're not a very open mind. You're not a very independent thinker, if you're even a thinker at all. So this is a bad idea to end the filibuster. I don't expect it's going to happen anyway. But aside from that, it's the admission that, yeah, we're losing. We're losing. The panicans were right. We're losing. Trump says Democrats likelier to win the midterms and the White House if GOP doesn't end filibuster. Imagine that. Imagine thinking the only success that we can have for MAGA is if we end the filibuster. How's that sound? Does that sound like winning? Does that sound like things are going good? We must end the filibuster to win? Not so much. Now, what is going on with this? Here's a little deep cut that I'm not seeing anywhere. $125 billion in 5 days. Fed quietly floods banks with cash again. What's going on? Fed just poured $125 billion into U.S. banks over 5 days. On October 31st, it saw the biggest hit, $29.4 billion in 1 day. Banks swapped treasuries for cash to ease funding stress. Bank reserves are at the lowest in 4 years, just $2.8 trillion. That'll barely pay a single debt payment. Fed Chair Powell talks tough on inflation, but quietly floods banks with cash. This is called stealth easing. Markets now bet there's a 67% chance rates get cut in December. This move is huge. Crypto markets love easy money, but some experts are saying every dollar makes crypto boom. The cash flood is about keeping banks stable, not just printing money to pump markets. Now, so here's what's happening. And then maybe we'll look at the crypto and the stock market today. Folks, the banks, the debt that the United States has is obviously unpayable, and they're not even trying. The banks it's basically the same story. The banks have been bailed out so many times because they can't pay. And this is bad loans. It's the combination of bad loans and a bad economy. So they've been bailed out. You just had a massive bank bailout and nobody's talking about it. That's what you had. $125 billion bank bailout. Now, is the American that got a predatory loan that they can't afford to pay back, are they going to get bailed out? No. But the banks that gave out that bad loan that also signed their name on that contract, they get bailed out. But not the citizen, not the American taxpayer, just the banks. Now, you could argue that this is necessary. All right? You could make that argument. You might be right. But the point is, folks, this is a sign of not a bad economy, a fake economy. This is the sign of a fake economy. Now, the markets were down. I don't know if they're still down. They were down yesterday. Let's see where they're at now. I've been a little too busy to keep up today. And I liquidated at the end of last week anyway, so haven't been paying attention. Looks like we're still down today. Couple things are up. But overall, it looks like they're still down. Now, my guess is they'll be right back up by the end of the week. This is the pump and dump ride. I ride it too. So this is just the pump and dump ride. And you're just in the dump right now, and then everything will go low, and then they'll buy it back up, and it'll pump again. Now, something similar might be going on in the crypto markets. I don't follow that as much as the stock markets. I do believe it's all connected. But the crypto markets just had like their biggest loss in a single day. So I don't know if they pump and dump that like they do in the stock market. I don't follow that as much. But my guess is it's the exact same thing. They've got this thing down, folks. They've got this thing down to a T. They create the waves and they ride the waves and they get massive, massive returns. And the average person that's in the stock market or the crypto market that's trying to keep up, they just keep losing. And they can't figure out why. Because you're in a controlled pump and dump. And meanwhile, as this is going on, the banks are getting bailed out. Not a good equation. Not a good equation at all. Now, you've also got what's going on with the Trump crypto situation and Caroline Leavitt. I've never seen her get more defensive. She was asked today at the press conference about the Binance guy that Trump bailed out. I've never seen her get more defensive. She got hostile to the person that asked that. So to me, I see that, and that's like another red flag, like this is not good. So like the first red flag was just, okay, the Trump family heavily invested in crypto. Trump used to be anti-crypto. Now he's pro-crypto. They're bailing this guy out right as they're doing all of these acquisitions and mergers in the crypto market. So it's like, okay, could be innocent, but maybe there's something there. That's okay. Then Trump goes on 60 Minutes and says he doesn't even know the guy. He knows nothing about it. He doesn't know anything. He just signed the pardon. So that was the second thing that was like, that's not a good sign either. This is actually starting to get suspicious. And then Leavitt today gets extremely hostile to the reporter that asks about the pardon for the Binance guy. And so that was the third red flag for me that was like, this is ultra suspicious. Now, why would Caroline Leavitt get so hostile over this? It's not like this has been a big issue. It's not like this is some sort of ongoing drama here. Why would she get hostile about it? Is she invested in the crypto market? Is she getting a nice little bump there? Does she know that there's something else going on, but she can't talk about it? That was sign number 3 that something suspicious is going on there. So Be careful, folks. Be very careful out there and be smart. Now, unintentionally, but perfect timing here. That's what you do when you're a pro. I do have an announcement to make. And I want you to know that you're going to get a lot more information on this in the very near future. But we have lined up a gold sponsor for the show, and that is Allegiance Gold. Now, if you go right now, you can get more information, and you can reach out at protectwithowen.com, protectwithowen.com, and that will take you to the website that you see on the screen. You can sign up to get more information and get up to $5,000 in free metals. We're going to bring on the owners of Allegiance Gold so that you can meet them as well, because when you're dealing with gold, obviously, this can be a major financial transaction in your life. We want to make sure you're comfortable. We want to make sure that you know who it is you're investing with. So you're going to learn more about this in the future. But let me ask you something. Are you the type who waits to be rescued or the one who protects your family before the storm hits? You're already seeing the cracks. The dollar buys less every month. Banks are showing stress. And this market is being propped up with printed money. Just showed you the stories, folks. It's not if it breaks, it's how prepared you'll be when it does. Here's what they don't want you to notice. When the system starts cracking, the insiders quietly move first. That's why central banks, major institutions, and billionaires are piling into gold right now. And that's why I've partnered with Allegiance Gold. When paper markets burn or the market falls, gold and silver don't. They're yours, not the government's, not the banks, not Wall Street's, yours. Allegiance Gold has been around for nearly a decade and is trusted by over 7,000 clients nationwide. Relationship-driven, A+ with the Better Business Bureau, 4.9 stars from real clients, transparent, and they focus on educating you first. And right now, they're offering up to $5,000 in free gold and silver with qualified investments. Whether through your 401k, IRA, or savings, they make it simple to move into something real before the next reset. So, call 844-790-9191, 844-790-9191, or go to protectwithowen.com. That will lead you to the screen you see here. Protect your wealth and your freedom because no one else will. So it's funny that all of this news breaks. And I told you last week that we landed 2 new sponsors. We heard from our new sponsor yesterday. Now you're hearing from Allegiance Gold today. So I saw all this news pop and I was monitoring their markets. We already planned on it after last week signing on the new sponsor. We already planned on launching it Tuesday. And then the backdrop with all of this news hits. And it just makes more sense than ever. So go to protectwithowen.com for more information. Reach out to them with your inquiries. You can get more information there. And protect your wealth, folks. That's what it comes down to. Don't leave your money sitting in the bank. And I think we can all understand why you don't want to do that right now. All right. We're going to come back here and we're going to go to some of these clips from Marjorie Taylor Greene on The View. And then we may get into some of this drama from over the weekend still if we have time. But I want to go to the Marjorie Taylor Greene clips first. I've actually got a couple from Marjorie Taylor Greene. She was on Bill Maher too. But you know, it's getting a lot of attention, what Marjorie Taylor Greene is doing. And I think that's because she has the pulse of America.
You're listening to the Owen Report on the Win Network.
extra-dimensional, and multi-universal. Here's your host, Owen Schroyer.
Katie Miller is on Fox News right now. You know, I like Katie. She's very passionate about the things that she believes, and I don't agree with all of them, but I do like her. I think she comes from a good place, and I like passionate political debate, and I like people that don't run from it, and I like people that are able to debate without just doing name calling. It's like the people that just do the name calling, it's like I'm not a fan of that. But if you can do a real debate, if I disagree with you, but you can do a real debate, I respect that. All right. It looks like we might get some early returns here and maybe some indicators of where things are going. What do you think's going to happen, though? I can already tell you what's going to happen when Mondani wins. The finger pointing and blaming Sliwa is going to get real nasty. And I think these people that are already kind of losing some of their good standing on the right are going to lose a lot more the way that they treat Curtis Sliwa after tonight. But it's part of the process, and it's probably a good thing that it's happening. But I do anticipate that. But, man, what are they going to do if Sears and Chitterelli lose? If the Democrats win the governor's race in New Jersey and Virginia, that's going to be panic button. It's not going to be let's all point the finger and jump on Curtis Sliwa and blame him for everything. They're going to have no one to blame. And I think it's going to be panic mode. And I think you're already starting to see it. The realization might be crashing down on them. And then if there is any blame to go around, they'll start blaming the people that are actually looking for results from this administration that they voted for. They'll blame all the people that are sick of foreign aid and foreign wars. That's what they'll do. They'll skirt all responsibility. They'll pretend they had nothing to do with it. They'll pretend that it has nothing to do with the way they approach things or how detestable they've become. They'll just blame everybody but themselves. But that's all meaningless because it just shows where things are going. And I guess if I really want to feather my nest here, it just means that we were right again. Man, you know, do I like being right? I don't know. I'd rather be wrong on some of this stuff, to be honest. I think. I don't know, actually. It's tough sometimes. Would you rather be right, even though you know that the things that you're right about are going to hurt the country, or would you rather be wrong and then be wrong, but the country be in a better place? All right, let's go here. Let's do the Marjorie Taylor Greene. I thought she was fantastic, personally. And, you know, here's the big miss. Before I go to these clips, here's the big miss. It seems as though the Republican establishment and whatever these ankle biters, whatever these clout chasers now, the fake MAGA, the Johnny-come-lately MAGA, they seem to be completely missing the boat, just like they did with Trump. And they think attacking Marjorie Taylor Greene is a win, or they're under some illusion that Marjorie Taylor Greene is unpopular and doesn't represent the populist right wing, when she does. She's probably the best advocate, the best voice for the populist right wing in Congress, maybe even in American politics. It's like, if you want to, it's like, where is the populist right wing in the media? Well, probably right here. But no, if you want to give an example, it's probably Tucker Carlson. And if you want to give an example of Congress, it's probably Marjorie Taylor Greene. So now there's no doubt that the ladies over there at The View, even though the whole thing, I'd say, you know, they had their moments, but the whole thing was mostly amicable. But yeah, you could tell they were trying to get Marjorie to really go to war with the Republicans and the GOP. And she kind of, you know, she scratched their itch a little bit, but she didn't go all in. She kept it good. She kept it cordial. So now listen, but this is very important. Listen to this at the beginning here. Listen to what they say. because this is not an isolated incident here. This phenomenon goes way beyond the desk of The View that we just saw here with Marjorie Taylor Greene.
I've got to tell you, I'm sitting here just stumped. Because you are a very different person than I thought you were.
Well, you've only seen me in clips and headlines. And that's not fair.
And that is true.
Now keep that in mind. You've only seen me in clips. You've only seen me in headlines. Now, this is something that most people can't relate to because you're not in media and you don't have this public perception of whatever it is people are sharing of you. So just keep that in mind. I want to finish the clip, but just keep that in mind for when I do my commentary.
You've broken from the Republican Party on a number of issues, including, besides the shutdown, such as the war in Gaza, tariffs, Trump's desire to expand AI, foreign aid. But you've also had these clips highlighting the very public spats that you've had with your colleagues, where your behavior, some say, is just unbecoming for a congresswoman. And you're promoting conspiracy theories like QAnon in the past. But you seem to have grown past that. And I feel like I'm sitting next to a completely different Marjorie Taylor Greene. Why the change? Why the evolution?
Well, Sonny, it's
like you've gone so right. It's like you're on the left now. It's like this.
I'm not on the left.
Now, I want to consume this in two ways here. First, she says, "Hey, I'm stunned. You're not the person I thought you were. This is crazy. I actually kind of like you, maybe. We got a lot of political differences and some cultural differences, but you know what? I actually kind of like you. You're kind of pleasant to be around." And Marjorie's like, "Well, yeah, you don't really know me. You just see clips of me." Such an important point right there. When you are in politics, and maybe more specifically the media, it's so easy for people to have a total misinterpretation of who you are. Because people will pull clips and frame clips and editorialize clips to present you in a way that they want, in a fashion that they think benefits what they believe in. So this happens with anybody. Happens with everybody, you might even say. So I've had this happen to me many times. And I think mostly it's the left that has a problem with this. And it's like, we might have political differences, but when you meet me, you realize I'm not this monster you think I am. We probably have more in common than you realize. I'm not a bad guy. We just have political differences, cultural differences. So you've kind of seen this phenomenon before where the person on the left meets somebody from the right that they think is, god awful, whatever. And then they're like, "Oh, okay, actually, you're just kind of a normal person like me. We just have different beliefs." Like, yeah, that's normal human behavior. So that's Sonny kind of like admitting, like the rest of the left is like, "Man, we really think you guys are monsters. And then we meet you. It turns out you're really not so bad. We just have some political differences. So not so bad, huh?" Now, again, this is normally what the left is doing, but the right is doing this now too. The right is doing this now too. And it's like, I really don't even want to go into names and examples because I think we all understand it. But it's just like all these people, all this infighting that you have on the right, I guarantee you, if most of these people were actually forced to sit down and confront one another or talk to one another, I bet a lot of this hatred, I bet a lot of this vitriol would dissolve and deteriorate and come crashing down. And they'll still have their issues and they'll still have their differences. And there might even still be some passionate disagreements there, some extreme disagreements, but they realize, okay, you know what? You're not the monster I portray you to be. You're not the monster I interpreted you to be. You've said some sordid things. You've said some shameful things, and I'll never like that. But you know what? I went too far. You're not what I thought you were. And this is why I always try to open dialogue. This is why I always try to open debate. Because from my experience, just the act of meeting somebody, looking them eye to eye, getting in their personal bubble, just that right there lowers the temperature, lowers the hate, lowers the vitriol like 50%. Just that act alone of being forced to go there and see that person or touch that person in reality lowers the temperature, lowers the hate, lowers the vitriol 50%. And then you get talking, and it usually just goes down from there. And this is why open dialogue is so important. This is why Charlie Kirk talked about how important it was. When the dialogue stops, the people start dying. So why are they so angry at people for just talking? Why are they so angry at Tucker Carlson? What are they so afraid of? Now, maybe that's a whole separate issue. But when you see right-wingers say, oh, look, this liberal admits they misinterpreted somebody on the right. This liberal admits that it was unwarranted hatred they had towards a conservative. Be careful, because the same stuff is happening on the right now. Now, here's Marjorie Taylor Greene telling it like it is. And I've been reporting on this for how long? I don't know. If you've been following my show and my work, you know I've been saying this for years. Oh, they're pissed, though. The people that she's talking about today are pissed at her for saying this. But what Marjorie Taylor Greene says right here is 100% true. I can vouch for it. I can verify it myself.
I think there's a lot of paid social media influencers. And I found it very interesting that they were the MAGA accounts, but they're all paid. And they all attacked me when I announced I was coming to join you ladies on The View. And I think that's very weak and pathetic. But when I talk about weak Republican men, I'm pretty much talking oftentimes about the leadership in the House and the Senate. And they're not getting our agenda done. I think there's a lot of paid.
So when she talks about the paid influencers, 100% true, folks. Just 100%. I know it for a fact. I could be one if I wanted to. I'm not. I don't do paid for political campaigns. I don't do digital social media influence. I don't do it. I could if I wanted to. I don't do it. And it's like, when you tune in, part of me is like, we do kind of well on X. We like to get into the fray on X. We like to shuffle things up on X, wade into the controversial subjects on X, sometimes maybe against my better judgment, but we do it. We go in there. Part of me is like, just stop it and just only do the show. Just only do the show. And if people want to know what I think or what I'm talking about, they have to tune into the show. Okay. So if you tune in, this is for the people that tune in every day. God bless your souls. I love you. And for the people that tune in every day and are active listeners, you probably remember it was about a week or two ago. I don't even remember when it was. I came on here and I said that the Pentagon is offering people press passes. And I told you they offered me a press pass. And I told you they even offered me to cover things digitally. So I don't even have to go to D.C. They'll give me a login and I can digitally get into their press conferences and I can digitally ask them questions. They even told me I could stream it if I wanted. So you may remember I told you guys this like 2 weeks or 3 weeks ago. You may remember if you're tuned in every day. Okay? So now what are you seeing? Laura Loomer, Brianna Morello, and now everybody else, they're talking about how they're getting access and they've got a Pentagon press pass. And people are freaking out. So it's like, oh my gosh, I got the Pentagon press pass. And then it's like, oh my gosh, you got a Pentagon press pass? Folks, I get this information. Most of the stuff usually comes through my pipeline as soon as it goes to anybody else, if not before. I told you about the social media digital influence campaigns years ago. Why do you think I was able to tell you that? Because I could have done it. I turned it down. I told you about all the upcoming Israel trips. That was years ago. I told you they were about to be sending more people to Israel than you ever seen in your life, specifically social media influencers. How was I able to tell you that? Because they offered it to me first. It's the same thing here. I'm telling you, folks, there are pro-Trump digital social media influence campaigns. They are well-funded. They are well-organized. And yes, a lot of these people, they might even like Marjorie Taylor Greene. But if they're getting paid to post against her, they'll do it. They might even have some issues with Trump. But if they're paid to post something positive about Trump, they'll do it. Same thing with Israel. They might have been anti-Israel for years. They took the trip. Now they're in the game. They're pro-Israel now. So it's like everybody's freaking out now about this Pentagon press access thing. And it's like, guys, just calm down. Just relax. So it's crazy to watch how everybody presents it differently and responds to it differently. And I just got to sit here. I'm like an observer. I just got to sit here like I'm watching cars fly by on the highway. I'm just like, oh, yeah, that's nice. Oh, yeah, that's cool. That's fun. Yeah. No, I don't need a ride. That's right. Keep going, though. Oh, yeah. Yep. So never doubt me, folks. I'll never steer you wrong. You're always going to stay ahead of the curve here, which, by the way, I'm going to give you the real head of the curve analysis later tonight. And I was thinking, I shot this video last night, and I don't mean to get off track here, but I shot this video last night, and I didn't upload it because it was late, and I just couldn't sleep. You know, that's criminal what they do to us with this daylight savings. Is it messing with anybody else's sleep patterns? Definitely messing with mine. Criminal what they're doing to us with this daylight savings time or whatever the hell it is now. Dark before 6. It's disgusting. So they're messing with my sleep patterns. Couldn't sleep last night and shot this little video. May upload it tonight, but it might not do well tonight because of the election. So may wait till later. And maybe I'll do a tease of it here. But what is really happening right now? Because nobody's talking about what's really happening. And I shouldn't say nobody. And I'm guilty of it too, by the way. I mean, what's my headline today? My headline's about Trump. My headline's about the elections. So I'm guilty of it too. But I'll go down all this stuff here, like I've got on the screen when I pull up this last Marjorie Taylor Greene video. And I'll go down all the different live shows on X, and nobody's talking about the real story. Nobody's talking about what's really going on. Now I've got some stuff on my desk that might get to that. But that's, I guess, kind of a deep tease, and now I feel bad for doing it, so I might have to get to it. But let's get to the one last clip here from Marjorie Taylor Greene. And this is what resonates. This is what resonates with the American people. This is why Trump got into office in 2016, and this is what will get the next person into office in 2028.
You want to know something else, Whippy? So many veterans that went over and had to fight in some war that really had nothing to do with where they were from or their hometown, and their lives and families' lives have been so affected. So for me, I am unapologetically America first, and I'll do anything I can to work hard to save
Maybe you
this
should become
country.
a Democrat, Marjorie.
No, I'm not a Democrat. You want to know something? I'll say this. I think both parties have failed.
Yeah.
Both parties have failed.
This is worse.
Yeah.
He's worse. Sorry. You know that. He's still your favorite president. He goes against everything you just said.
You want to know something else, Whippy? So many veterans that went over and had.
That's the message. In fact, it's so good. Let's play it one more time. This is the winning message in 2028. This is the winning message. Just like it was in 2008, just like it was in 2016. This is the winning message right here.
You want to know something else, Whippy? So many veterans that went over and had to fight in some war that really had nothing to do with where they were from or their hometown, and their lives and families' lives have been so affected. So for me, I am unapologetically America first, and I'll do anything I can to work hard to save
Maybe you
this
should become
country.
a Democrat, Marjorie.
No, I'm not a Democrat. You want to know something? I'll say this. I think both parties have failed.
Bingo.
Both parties have
This
failed.
is worse.
Yeah.
He's worse. Sorry. You know that.
No.
Well, that's just objectively not true. The Democrats are obviously worse, just total traitors against this country. But aside from that, okay, political debate. Now, everything Marjorie Taylor Greene said there is the truth. Both parties have failed, and the entire country is sick of being involved in foreign wars that have nothing to do with our interests. That's the winning message in 2028. That's the winning message that Obama ran and won on. That's the winning message that Trump ran and won on. That's the winning message that whoever takes it up in 2028 will run and win on. I don't know if Marjorie Taylor Greene wants to run for president. She's certainly kind of presenting herself like she has an interest. I'd back her. Absolutely. It's like, where are the other Republicans? Where are the other conservatives? Where are the other right-wingers that talk like this? Where are the nationalists? Are people scared of that word now? Are people scared to be a nationalist? Does the word white nationalist scare you? Ooh. Does the word Christian nationalist scare you? Ooh. What about Jewish nationalist? Whoa. What about black nationalist? Ooh, black nationalist. Ooh. What's wrong with being a nationalist? Shouldn't we be nationalists? Shouldn't that be a good thing? I'm going to make a prediction, by the way. This is out of left field. This is just totally crazy out of left field. They need to, well, they'll keep these gals around as long as they can, I guess, until they're like basically on a feeding tube or an iron lung or something, which is too bad, but whatever. It is what it is. Nobody really watches The View until somebody interesting goes on like Marjorie Taylor Greene anyway. I think eventually I would not be surprised if Jennifer Lawrence ends up on The View. And I actually hope she does. Has nothing to do with the way she looks. But I've seen Jennifer Lawrence make a couple political statements lately that have been very, very rational and very down to earth. And there's no doubt that she comes from the left. But she just did an interview where she basically ripped celebrities for their political opinions. And she basically said it. She was like, celebrities need to shut up about their political opinions. Nobody cares. And it's been proven nobody cares. And now every time somebody asks her a political question, she seems very measured. She seems very measured, and she tries to stay as grounded as possible, even though it's still clearly coming from a left-wing mindset, a left-wing bent. She's very measured and grounded when she says it. So I'm going to make a wild prediction. Jennifer Lawrence will eventually replace Joy Behar on The View. And it'll be a nice upgrade in many ways. It'll be a nice upgrade. You'll have someone on there that's much more rational and much more nice to look at. But we might have to wait some time for that. That could be somewhere down the road. So there's Marjorie Taylor Greene. I think doing a great job. Green, if Marjorie, because I'm looking at like a Green Massey or a Massey Green, but I don't know. I don't think Massey has presidential aspirations. If I'm being honest, I don't think he does. I'm not seeing it. And based off of that post he made after getting married, it sounds to me like he kind of wants to just retire on the farm. That's what George Washington wanted to do, by the way. So it sounds to me like he kind of wants to just retire on the farm. I don't think he wants to do presidential politics. He might ride out his seat as the representative for his district as long as he wants, and I think he can probably do it as long as he wants. Trump just endorsed. There's a veteran that's going to be running against Thomas Massey. They're going to try to primary him. I'm not going to pretend like I know Kentucky politics or Massey's district that well, but I would say he's probably not going to lose that seat if he runs, despite Trump trying to unseat him. I would say it's probably his safely. But I don't know. I think he just wants to retire on the farm. I don't think he wants to do D.C. politics. I don't think he wants to do a presidential run. So I'm looking at Marjorie Taylor Greene right now. Leader in the clubhouse, Marjorie Taylor Greene. For me, if you look overall, obviously J.D. Vance is on there. Realistically, it's Vance or Greene right now. I don't think anybody else is a serious contender. If one of Trump's sons wanted to run, they'd become a serious contender overnight. But right now, I'd say Vance and Greene, and there really is no other field. People throw other names out there like Rubio. It's no, they don't have a chance. I'd say Vance or Greene are your only real contenders right now. Massey, if he wanted to, I don't think he wants to. Trump's sons, if they wanted to, I don't know if they want to. But maybe we're getting a little ahead of ourselves here, talking about 2028. But they'll be talking about it tonight. They'll be talking about it tonight, depending on the results of these elections. And they'll be especially talking about it if the Democrats win. Then it'll be a huge talking point. Because, and maybe it'll be a good thing. I don't want Democrats to win, but it's like, what is going to shock these Republicans back to reality? It's like, what is going to shock right-wingers and conservatives out of this post-Trump victory stupor that they've been stuck in? What is going to snap them out of this honeymoon phase that they seem reluctant to leave? They want to stay in the honeymoon. The honeymoon's over, sweetheart. Listen, pumpkin. The honeymoon's done. It's game time now. You guys are still floating on the lazy river with your cocktails. Okay? The big boys are trying to play politics. So maybe these Democrat victories tonight will shock the Republicans back to reality. Maybe these Democrat victories will snap them out of this post-victory stupor that they've been stuck in since November. Just maybe. A year later, maybe they can finally snap out of this childhood phase and mature a little bit. We shall see. I think that'll be the wake-up call, though. And, oh, man, I'm telling you, it's going to be nasty. It's going to be nasty. And the very people that they claim that they don't need, they're going to blame. Imagine the irony of that. The very people that this new Republican establishment, this new fake MAGA establishment, they're going to point the finger and blame the very people that they said that they didn't need. That's going to be fun. That's going to be a lot of fun. You know what I'm going to be doing when that goes on? You know, that's one where I might actually just decide, I think I'm going to put a whole pot of coffee on for this. I think for this one, we go a whole pot of coffee. You know, I think that's more than just the instant coffee that I've learned to love so much here from blackoutcoffee.com/Owen. No, I think that's a full pot. I think I go to my pitch black espresso bag, which I'm almost out of now. I think I go to my pitch black espresso bag from blackoutcoffee.com, and I think I'm putting a whole pot on for that. That might be the agenda tonight. If God forbid the Democrats win every race, I'm putting the pot of coffee on, and I'm just watching them lose their minds, shocked, horrified, confused, and then blaming everybody who tried to steer them in the right direction for the last 6 months. They're going to blame you. Oh, does coffee and popcorn go well together? Probably not. I don't know. Can't say I've ever tried that one. Hey, but folks, we love our friends over at Blackout Coffee. That's what I'm drinking right here. By the way, you can get the signature gold mug, the Blackout Coffee Don't Tread on Me signature gold mug of the Owen Report. You can get that at blackoutcoffee.com. But get your coffee from our friends at blackoutcoffee.com. If you go to blackoutcoffee.com/Owen, you can see all the different options. So many options over there. You'll spend so much time shopping. You'll need coffee just to scroll the entire website. That's how big it is. That's how many options that they have. But you know me, I would just sit here and tell you about the instant coffee all day long. That's my favorite. The instant coffee is just so good. And that's what this is. Yes, I'm drinking the instant coffee today. It's instant coffee. It is what it says it is. I want coffee instantly. Done. Blackoutcoffee.com/Owen. But they got all kinds of different options. If you like the medium roast, if you like the dark roast, if you like the light roasts, it's all there. It's the best tasting coffee you're going to find. Or if you really are into coffee tasting good, they do have the flavored coffee, but they have the single serve pod. So it's kind of the best of both worlds. You kind of get the instant coffee, not much of the cleanup, and you get the different flavors that you like. You know, we are into that season. I don't like it. I don't like Christmas decorations. I don't like Christmas music till after Thanksgiving. I find it all very grotesque, personally. Personally, I don't like Christmas till after Thanksgiving. But it's inevitable. It's here now. So you can get into the season. You can get into the season right now. If you want to cling on to the fall season, the autumn season, though, they do have the pumpkin spice flavored coffee. But if you're ready to just jump in full Christmas, peppermint mocha, winter wonderland, eggnog, candy cane. Yes, that's right. Candy cane flavored coffee. I'm curious. I might just have to try that one out of curiosity. You can get it all at blackoutcoffee.com/Owen. And remember, use coupon code Owen at checkout, and you can get 20% off your first order. That's coupon code Owen at checkout, blackoutcoffee.com/Owen. Thanks to our friends at Blackout Coffee, the official coffee of the Owen Report. All right, so here we go. This is where it just gets crazy. And this goes back to what I was saying earlier about political pragmatism versus political purity. And there seems to be a bit of a dilemma, if you will, right now from the Republicans. And look, let's just be honest. Let's just say what it is. All of this stems over the Israel issue. It's just true, folks. It's just true. It all stems from the Israel issue. And of course, the people on the right that are pro-Israel, they can't be honest that it's their main issue because that would prove that they're not MAGA. That would prove that they're not America first. So they can't be honest that Israel is their real core issue because then they'd have to be honest that Israel is their real core issue and not America. So they can't be honest about that. So they find different ways to kind of massage it and do end arounds and pretend like, oh, no, that's not the case. But it is the case. And so the inconsistencies are really starting to get worse. The incongruencies when it comes to logical consistency, political consistency, it's all starting to blow up in their face because they just can't be honest about who they are. And so this is why they're endorsing Cuomo. But look at this. So Cuomo goes on Fox News. I guess we'll play the clip.
Worst. Nobody knew what we were dealing with. I had the best health experts from around the globe giving us advice. We followed the best advice. We followed the federal guidance. And people died in a horrific way. There were no visitors.
Now, what have I always said about the woke? They'll always end up defending death. They'll always end up defending death. And everything Cuomo has. How can you defend this guy? Oh, my God. You know what? First of all, I'm sorry. I can't even believe this. This is why I wasn't going to play the clip because it's just so disgusting. First of all, it's a false dichotomy. The lying on the American right is disgusting right now. I'm sorry. It's just disgusting. You guys are such liars. I have to vote for Cuomo. You know that there's a Republican on the ballot, right? You know that Curtis Sliwa is on the ballot, right? I have to vote for Cuomo. I have no choice. No, you literally do. You liar. You liar. You literally have a Republican on the ballot. You liar. No choice but to vote for Cuomo. I can't believe I've been forced into this. So it's a total false dichotomy. I can't believe it. I'm going to go ahead and say this. I'm going to go ahead and say it. And I can't believe it. It makes me sick, but it's true. Yes. Yep. Yeah. I'd rather have the commie. I'd rather have the commie. I would rather have the commie killer. Excuse me. I'd rather have the commie than this grandma killer. I would rather have the commie than this disgusting piece of filth, Andrew Cuomo. This disgusting dirtbag grandma killer is filth. I can't believe you people on the right. You are sick. You are sick for endorsing this man. This man is disgusting. You make me sick. And you don't have to do it. Sliwa is on the ballot. There is a Republican on the ballot. There is a Republican who has been fighting for justice in the streets of New York City his entire life on the ballot. He's stayed in the race. He continues to run. He's on the ballot. And you'd rather vote for this scumbag? You're sick. You're sick. And I don't know how you can, that's what I'm saying. I don't know how you can listen to this guy talk and not be totally disgusted. Say whatever you want about Mamdani. I don't like the guy. I'd never vote for him. I'm not a communist. I think his policies, if he's successful, will destroy New York City. It's already destroyed. But how can you vote for this scumbag? Really? Because he waves an Israeli flag? Really? Because he says he'd go to Jerusalem? You disgust us. I can't even look at this guy without getting enraged. I can't even listen to this absolute slimeball talk without getting enraged. I can't believe you endorsed this guy. You are disgusting. And now guess what? You are the woke because you have to defend death. I can't even do this. I don't even know if I can get through this Cuomo clip. I'm going to be honest. This man disgusts me, and he lies. Oh, we were going off the best health advice, and Really? Because they didn't do what you did in Texas. They didn't do what you did in Florida. We didn't have the nursing home killers here. That was only in New York, bud. So no, it didn't have to go down that way. You lying sack of filth. I can't believe you sellouts on the right. I can't believe you individuals that claim that you're American patriots and God-fearing Christian American patriots and Republicans. I can't believe that you endorsed this guy. We will never forget it. We will never forget that you endorsed this guy who is admitting his policies led to thousands of people dying. And you're going to vote for this guy because you like his foreign policy? He's a mayor candidate. You're all sick. You're all twisted. You might be demon possessed. I'm going to try to just shut up. This angers me. So I cannot believe people endorse this man. Oh my God. Oh my God.
Worst. Nobody knew what we were dealing with. I had the best health experts from around the globe giving us advice. We followed the best advice. We followed the federal guidance, and people died in a horrific way. There were no visitors allowed into nursing homes. And I apologize for any family that lost a loved one during that time. It was on my watch. And I understand how terrible it was.
Yeah, we really were first and worst. I remember calling my family down in South Carolina saying, Mom and Dad, do not go to that party. You don't understand what's happening here. Y'all need to stay away from.
You people are so sick. You people are so pathetic. Congratulations to the woke right. You finally showed your true colors. You endorsed the nursing home killer, and now he basically admits it. What a joke. What an absolute joke. When you go woke, you'll always end up defending death. By the way, what is it that President Trump said? Go woke, go broke? No, it was everything woke turns to shit. Oh, yeah. What's happening with MAGA right now? Went woke. How's it going? How's it going? Oh, it's going so great. We're just afraid we're going to lose the midterms now. Oh, it's going so great. We're probably going to get a sweep tonight by the Democrats. Oh, it's going so great. We're concerned about 2028 now. Oh, it's so great. We might have to end the filibuster because we're losing our political support. Go woke, go broke. Everything woke turns to shit. Look at MAGA now. It's not us. We got kicked out. We got thrown overboard. We got gate kept out. So you can't blame us. So it must be the woke right running MAGA now that's turned it to shit. Endorsing Andrew Cuomo. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. So here's Miranda Devine of the New York Post. So Cuomo apologizes for his policies killing thousands of people. And they say, okay, we forgive you and we endorse you. Do you see how screwed up Republican Party politics are right now? See, it's just like the left, folks. It's just like the left. They've compromised their values. They've compromised their integrity. They've compromised their honesty. And so now they're forgiving and endorsing Andrew Cuomo instead of endorsing Curtis Lewa. That's how far they've fallen off. That's how low their integrity has gone. That's how low the bar has gone now. in this new right-wing MAGA establishment. So this is how you want to know. Let me summarize how bad it is for you now. Let me summarize where this new MAGA establishment has gone, completely sacrificing its integrity, its honesty, its consistency. They will forgive Andrew Cuomo and endorse him for governor. Okay, Andrew Cuomo, we forgive you for your policies killing thousands of people. We forgive you from this heinous crime where you should probably be in prison for the rest of your life for doing it. But we forgive you, and we endorse you for mayor. Meanwhile, how dare Tucker Carlson have a conversation? How dare Tucker Carlson talk to somebody? We must destroy Tucker Carlson. We must deplatform Tucker Carlson. He must be destroyed and removed from the conversation at all costs. We will destroy him. What did Tucker Carlson do? He talked to somebody. But you'll forgive and endorse Andrew Cuomo for having thousands of people killed with his policies during COVID. Oh, you don't want me to be a part of that? No problem. Enjoy your losses. Enjoy your defeat. And then you'll blame us. You watch. They'll blame us tonight. If the Democrats win in New Jersey and Virginia, you know who they're going to blame. If Mamdani wins in New York City, they're going to blame everyone but themselves. They're going to blame everybody but the person and the people responsible who are right in the mirror in front of them. It's already happening. It's already happening. Like this. This is, and by the way, I think this is all fake, by the way. Like this Persian Jewish account. This is probably an Indian. This is probably a Pakistani. This is probably somebody posing as a Jew just to make people hate Jews. If Mamdani wins, Curtis Sliwa should be ashamed for life for betraying New York City. Look at these scumbags. Betraying New York City? You're going to endorse Andrew Cuomo and then talk about Sliwa betraying New York City? You're scum. Now, again, this is probably some foreigner that is just setting up this fake account to make people anti-Semitic. That's what I think is going on with these accounts like this. There's dozens of them. Because, yeah, then you get these responses. It's people hating Jews. I think this is all botted. I think this is all fake. I think these are all foreigners. What happened to the country of origin, by the way? What happened to the country of origin on X? I don't really care, but I'm just wondering what happened to it. Persian, Jewish, American, child of Iranian refugees. Do you believe any of that? Do you believe any of that? Or are accounts like this being set up just to drive the anti-Semitism wedge? If Mamdani wins, it's Curtis Sliwa's fault? What a disgusting excuse. What a disgusting and unnecessary attack. But they're already doing it because they know it's their own fault. And that's another thing that the woke does. They can never take responsibility for their own actions. They can never take responsibility for their own actions. That's another tenet of the woke. And they're doing it here in New York City. Nearly 1 million New Yorkers ready to flee New York City if Mamdani becomes mayor, possibly igniting the largest exodus in history. Let's see. Let's see how real all of that is. Let's see. And then if they're Democrats, where are they going to go? And are they going to keep voting Democrat? By the way, this phenomenon of people leaving Democrat cities is nothing new. It's been going on for a while. There are a bunch of reports of polling stations having errors in red areas in Pennsylvania and New Jersey and Virginia. I've seen this stuff develop since this morning. I don't know how much, I don't know how consequential this stuff might be, but we'll be paying attention to that. Trump threatens to hold SNAP benefits hostage. Then Caroline Leavitt says he won't. I actually was excited when I saw that news from Trump. President Trump said Tuesday that federal food benefits won't be distributed until after Democrats agreed to reopen the government. I was excited by that. I was like, thank God Trump is finally sticking his foot in the ground and saying no. Thank God Trump is finally standing up for something on principle here. And then Leavitt kind of backtracks it. Most of the SNAP is waste, fraud, and abuse, folks. We can have a tiny welfare state for people that actually need it. We can have it. It won't be that bad. You can have a tiny welfare state for the people that need it. $8 billion a month, $7 billion of it is probably waste, fraud, and abuse. So really what you need is reform here. Oh, nobody's talking about that. But this will be the big fight after the elections. They'll be talking more about this. And the finger pointing and the finger wagging. By the way, all right, so I'm 36. How old are you listening to this? How much money do you think you've put in to Social Security? I'm 36. I've been taxed on for Social Security for what? Probably 20 years now. I don't have a very good feeling that I'm going to see a dime of that in 30 years. So that's basically the government stealing my money. Now tell me why. Tell me why I can't just keep my own money. And if I want to save for retirement, then I can do that with my own money. I would bet you most Americans, by the time they're 40, have probably paid enough into Social Security that they could use it to buy a house. But Social Security payments and taxes have driven them out of the housing market. Now, wouldn't that be a nice retirement piece to own a home? But because of taxes, you can't afford a home. And because of interest rates, because of taxes, and because you can't afford a home, now you can't afford a home even worse. You want to save this country? Cut taxes. And I don't mean lower taxes. I don't mean change the tax brackets. I mean cut the taxes. I mean cut them. An American should never pay more than, I'll be nice. I'll be generous. An American should never pay more than 3% of what they make in taxes. 3% should be the most that you ever pay in taxes. And that's all taxes combined, 3%. You're closer to 33% right now. You want to save the economy? You want to save the American from this financial hardship that the vast majority of them are under? Cut their damn taxes. And by the way, there's about to be a major healthcare problem, folks. This deal on healthcare is about to get bad. I heard from 3 different people today about their healthcare payments quadrupling. This is about to get bad. This is about to get nasty. And why won't the Democrat states turn over their food stamp data? Since late July, most Democrat-led states have refused to give in to an unprecedented demand from the Trump administration to turn over personal information on federal food assistance recipients going back to 2020. They don't want to turn it over because they don't want to show the fraud. So the Trump administration is trying to find the fraud in all the SNAP benefits, and the Democrats are saying, nope, we're not going to do it. In California alone, they had $6 billion in SNAP benefits in 2019. It's now over $11 billion. It is more than doubled in 5 years. Now they're at $12.6 billion for fiscal year 2024. SNAP benefits in California alone. $12.6 billion a year. So they can't even afford food in California. But the economy's great. Economy's doing great. I mean, I got videos like this. This is just stuff that people are posting online where they just go into their options, their healthcare options, and it shows the price increase and it shows what they're being forced to pay. I had people sending me their own personal stuff. There's other people out there posting similar videos, similar posts. Folks, whatever is happening with the healthcare, it is a disaster. People cannot afford their healthcare now. And isn't that ironic? The Affordable Care Act, and now no healthcare is affordable. Get ready for this one to pop. That's going to be a huge story very, very soon. Oh, boy. Oh, man. This brings me... I don't know if I can do it, folks. I don't know if I can do this over the weekend from the Randy Fines and the Lindsey Grahams. I don't know if I can do it. I'm so sick of it. Maybe I'll go with this. Maybe we'll go back to Marjorie Taylor Greene talking about foreign aid with Bill Maher.
It looks bad at this moment that he's giving $40 billion to Argentina. Does it not?
It should always look bad, yeah.
Yeah, I disagree with that. I don't.
Really?
Look, I'm so far America first. I'm America only right now. I want good trade with other foreign countries, but I don't want to be involved in their foreign wars or their bailouts or their foreign causes or their foreign aid. I think the American people deserve all the attention from the government that they fund with their taxpayer dollars.
It looks bad at this moment that he's giving $40 billion to Argentina.
You want to hear the winning message politically right now? You want to hear the winning message for 2028? Who's willing to say it? Who is willing to say it? Tell me how any American can disagree with what Marjorie Taylor Greene just said. Tell me how you can disagree with anything she says right here. This is the winning message for 2028.
It not?
It should always look bad, yeah.
Yeah, I disagree with that. I don't.
Really?
Look, I'm so far America first. I'm America only right now. I want good trade with other foreign countries, but I don't want to be involved in their foreign wars or their bailouts or their foreign causes or their foreign aid. I think the American people deserve all the attention from the government that they fund with their taxpayer dollars.
It looks bad at this moment.
So who doesn't like that message? Just curious. Who doesn't like that message, and why wouldn't they? Oh. I don't know if I can do it, folks. Look, I've still got all this stuff from over the weekend. I just don't think I can do it. I'm just so sick of it. I'm just so sick of it. And by the way, the same people that will say, AIPAC is good, it's Americans, then will turn around and say that the American Islamic super PAC needs to be destroyed or registered as a foreign agent. So again, no consistency. So AIPAC, perfectly good, doesn't need to register as a foreign agent. That's representative of Americans. But the Center for American Islamic Relations, that's bad. That's a foreign lobby. That's a foreign agent. That needs to be banned because that's not Americans. That's Islamicists. I'd say they both need to be banned. But that's because I'm logically consistent. But if you think that AIPAC is good and CARE is bad, then you're brainwashed. If you think AIPAC good, CARE bad, then you do not have logic that is consistent. You have propaganda. I'm just so sick of it. And I don't like, it's like, what more is there to say? What more is there to see? Isn't it done? Isn't it over? Don't we all get it? All the cards are on the table now. You're either America first or you're not. And we all know who is and who isn't. We all see who's co-opted MAGA. We all see who's gatekeeping MAGA. We all see who's woke. We all see the foreign agents, the propaganda agents, the pro-war lobby. We see it all. What more is there to say? It's like, it's really just impatience, because it's like now we just have to wait for this to catch up when we start to see our political victories in 2 years and 4 years. But now they're all running around. You know, here's a perfect example. And again, I like Jamie Mitchell. Here's what's funny. When Jamie Mitchell started her Gays Against Groomers campaign, you know who was platforming her the most? You know the shows that Jamie Mitchell was going on the most when she was building her Gays Against Groomers coalition and political group? You know who it was? It was Tucker Carlson, and it was Owen Schroyer. I didn't care that she was Jewish. I didn't even care that she was gay. I said, hey, we might have different lifestyles, different religious beliefs, but we both are looking for the same thing. We both have a political thing in common right now. We have a similar vision, so we're on the same team. Let's do this. I probably brought her on 6 times. Carlson probably 6 times. And now she's attacked both me and Tucker Carlson because we don't want to support Israel's war. And now she's no longer the gay who's straight on X. She's Jamie USA. I like Jamie. I think she's a nice person. I'm not gonna make some social stand because her and her wife are pregnant and say, you're not allowed in conservative politics. I don't want you voting Republican. I don't agree with your lifestyle, but if we make the same decisions politically, okay, fine. I'm not going to attack you for it. I'm going to say, hey, we have a disagreement, but we both vote the same. So, all right. So Jamie now says, but again, it's like, oh, even though Tucker Carlson and Owen Schroyer basically were probably the most important people in the media getting my group notoriety and building my group, oh, they don't support Israel, so I don't like them anymore. They're bad. Boy, that's an interesting message to send, isn't it? Interesting. What am I supposed to interpret from that, by the way? Jamie says, being a Zionist is not contradictory to the America First movement. I'm an American who believes no country or people should come before our own. I'm also a Zionist who believes Jews have the right to live in their ancestral homeland, Israel. These two things are not at odds with each other. Well, see, this is what they do. This is the straw man argument. Where is the political movement to remove Jews from Israel? Show me the political movement. Show me the big political movement in America where people are saying that Jews cannot live in Israel. It literally doesn't exist. This is a straw man argument. So they're losing the foreign policy debate. So then they just say you're a Nazi. They're losing the foreign policy debate. So they just say, you don't believe Jews have the right to exist. Nobody is saying that. All we're saying is we don't want to financially and militarily support Israel. That is all we're saying. That is the entire basis of our foreign policy side argument. And then you just say, you don't believe Jews have the right to exist. Literally, never said it, not part of the campaign, not part of the platform. It's a straw man. This is what people that are losing a debate do. But is it true that you can be Zionist in America first? Is it true? Because to a Zionist, the most important thing is the development and the protection of Israel. So if you're a Zionist, that means your number one issue is Israel. So how can you be America first and a Zionist? It's a fair question to ask. Look at this. You want total proof they're losing the debate? And this is Laura Logan. And I like Laura Logan. I've met her. I think she's great. And I can understand Laura, who's been to the Middle East and she's had her own issues with Muslim men. She's got a little more invested in this. She's got a little more experience with this. So I can understand that. I'm sympathetic to that. It doesn't change my view on the foreign policy issue, but look at this. She says, who benefits the most from separating U.S. from its allies like Israel? Well, I don't know what that means, like Israel. What other ally is like Israel? There isn't one. Israel gets the most military aid and the most financial aid. So there is nobody like Israel. There is no foreign lobbying group that has the access and the influence that Israel gets. There's nobody that comes into our country from a foreign country and controls our foreign policy like Netanyahu does. So there is no other ally like Israel. So it's really who benefits the most from separating the U.S. from its ally, Israel. There is no other like Israel. It's just Israel. Folks, every single comment here, the American people, 59,000 likes from Ian Carroll versus 5.8 thousand on this. Tristan Tate, the U.S., the Patriot voice. We don't like Israel. I mean, it's just every single one of these things is anti-Israel, folks. It's a 99% hit rate. This is Chris Lesh, the husband of Dana Lesh. They're very pro-Israel. So look at this, 99%, folks, 99%. And this is Lara Logan, been on the right wing, pro-America, anti-Islam, you might say. She's had very involvement with Middle East foreign policy. 99% negative Israel in the response. 99%. This is on a right-wing account. 99%. Read the room, guys. You lost the debate. It's over. The only reason you have the political influence and access in D.C. is because of the money, because of your rich friends. They bought the administration, and they're running it on behalf of Israel. You don't have the people. The people are not in your court. The people are not with you. The people care about America and America only. And no amount of debate. And this is why it's like I'm sick of the debate. The debate is over. There is no debate. Either you want to support a foreign country or you don't. That's it. There is no debate. Is it good? Is it bad? No. Either you want to support a foreign country or you don't. It's that simple. It is that black and white. That's the debate. Mike Pence, America stands with Israel. Yeah, you got Mike Pence, you got Lindsey Graham, you got Ted Cruz. They say, America will not survive without Israel. And I just ask, what does that mean exactly? Has anybody ever explained that? What does that mean? Without Israel, America will collapse. I would love to hear Ted Cruz or Lindsey Graham or Mike Pence explain that. Has anybody asked him to explain that? What does that mean? Without Israel, America would collapse? I'd love to hear you guys explain that.
You're listening to the Owen Report on the Win Network.
It's the fastest 3 hours on the internet. It's the Owen Report with Owen Schroyer.
right, third and final hour of today's Owen Report. We still got a bunch of news here on the desk. I'm 50-50 of whether I'm going to go to that or open up phone lines. But if Mamdani wins tonight, there's going to be a lot of people panicking and telling you that New York is about to collapse. And maybe they're right, you know? Maybe they're right. So what are you going to do? What are you going to do to prepare for the collapse of New York City, ladies and gentlemen? And ever since COVID, millions of Americans have started buying preparedness supplies, especially emergency food, and that's a good thing. But there's a big mistake most people make with their emergency food supply. They don't have any way to cook it. And in a real emergency, when the power is out and the grid is down, that's going to become an issue. That's why our friends over at My Patriot Supply created their Black Friday Survival Special. It comes with a 4-week food supply plus $150 worth of free gifts, including everything you need to prepare your emergency meals, like a cook stove, fuel, and fire starters, plus a water purifier, bug out bag, and more. It's the complete survival kit for your family. And it's the survival kit you need to ride out natural disasters, civil unrest, or anything worse, like a communist mayor. It's also a great Christmas gift, but it's only available through Black Friday. So I head to mypatriotsupply.com/Owen to check out everything that's included. With all the uncertainty in the world right now, we simply can't afford to be unprepared, folks. So go to mypatriotsupply.com/Owen and get prepared today. That's mypatriotsupply.com/Owen. So this is the Black Friday special, 4-week emergency food supply plus $150 in free gifts. And you can learn all about those free gifts, but this offer ends on Black Friday. So just under a month to take care of it. Get it done. mypatriotsupply.com/Owen. We thank our friends at mypatriotsupply.com for sponsoring the show. Okay. All right. It's just so crazy, man. It's just so crazy, man. I just don't think I can do it. It's like every day, it's like, I get it. You guys love Israel. I get it. It's all about Israel for you. I get it. If I don't support Israel, you want nothing to do with me. I get it. If I won't support Israel, then I'm the bad guy and you want to destroy me and cut me out of. It's like, I just get it, man. All right. I'm pro-America, so I'm not welcome. All right. So I've got these things that just pile up on my desk. I just can't even cover it, folks. I'm just so sick of it. I'm so sick of Randy Fine. He's disgusting. Randy Fine is everything that's wrong with the right. Randy Fine is why people will never vote for Republicans. It's because of people like Randy Fine. I can't do it. I'm moving on. I'm canceling you, Randy. I want nothing to do with you. Same thing. Lindsey Graham, can't stand it. I can't believe Trump endorsed you. It's pathetic, but I guess money buys loyalty. Running around telling you if you don't support Israel, we'll make sure you never win an election. Oh, I love this one, though. Josh Hammer totally seems like a stable guy. Totally seems like a normal guy. You know, the kind of guy you'd go out and have fun with. Totally, that seems like the kind of guy Josh Hammer is. He says, thanks to Chicks on the Right. I'm Chicks on the Right. For having me on to discuss the ongoing concerted effort by some on the right to tear apart and destroy the existing MAGA coalition and build something entirely new in its place. Folks, do you see the projection here? Destroy the existing MAGA coalition and build something entirely new in its place. Josh, that's what you guys have literally done. That's what has literally been done to MAGA. You guys destroyed MAGA, and now you're building MAGA in its place. This is incredible projection. But it's the same thing. Go into the replies, and it's 99% negative. So, no, it's not the nominal right. It's the vast majority of Americans that are sick of foreign aid and foreign policy that doesn't help America. And that's on the left and the right. And you destroyed MAGA, and you built something new in its place, not us. And now you guys will have to take the blame for the losses, not us. Again, here it is again. Emily Austin, sports reporter, Cuomo. Hot girls for Cuomo. How's that one working out, doll? She says, no other nation is forced to justify their existence. Not Russia, not China, not just Israel. Where are you getting this? I just don't want to support it financially. I just don't want to support it with my military. Israel can exist. I hope Jews in Israel have a great life. I hope Israel is beautiful and happy and advanced and safe and prosperous. I hope all living in Israel. I hope all Israeli Jews, nothing but peace and prosperity. I wish nothing but the best for your country. Genuinely. I just want nothing to do with it. I don't want to fund it, and I don't want to support it. That's all. But I wish nothing but the best. And they just say, oh my gosh, why do we always have to defend our existence? We're the only people, we're the only country. What are you talking about? How is it Americans that just want to stop the foreign aid, stop the foreign wars? How does that equate to, oh my gosh, I just have to defend my existence? Well, I guess you're admitting the big truth though, right? You're admitting the truth, which is it doesn't exist without our support. That it's basically a leech off the United States of America? Because that's what it sounds like you're admitting. If I say I don't want America to financially support Israel or any foreign country for that matter, but since you guys are so staunchly defending Israel, I don't want America to financially or militarily support Israel. Oh my gosh, you don't support my right to exist? Well, I don't know what that means, but if your existence is dependent on me funding and supporting you, well, then I guess that's your problem, isn't it? If the entire existence of the state of Israel is based off the support of the United States of America, well, then that's a you problem, not a me problem. But is that not what you're admitting? This stuff is just crazy, man. And they don't even live in reality. This is Avi Yemeni, who, again, I like, does a lot of great street work, has no fear confronting the corrupt globalists. But yet, oh, I thought the right was done. What, because we don't support Israel? Dude, you're an Australian. You're not even American. You're an Australian. What weight does your opinion carry in American politics? You're an Australian. I thought the right was done. What, because we don't want to support Israel, the right is done? What are you saying? What are you even talking about? I can't do it. I just can't. I'm so sick of it all. And now they're going after anybody at TPUSA that is willing to have open dialogue, like the producer of the Charlie Kirk show, Blake Neff. And he's right, by the way. He says John Potthurst and Jonathan Greenblatt pose a greater threat to Israel's long-term well-being than Nick Fuentes. The PR damage from these psycho meltdowns is hard to quantify. First of all, he's 100% right. You can throw in Mark Levin and Ben Shapiro into that mix too. And by the way, he says nothing of Nazis. Nazis are not mentioned. And then Max Abrams, who's all over this, he's probably another Israeli agent, the producer of the Charlie Kirk show, saying Nazis are better than American Jews. Where did he say that? Tell me where he said that. You're a liar. You are just a liar. Why can't you just be honest? And now it's, the Groypers and Turning Point. So now Turning Point is Nazis. By the way, all of these people were anti-Charlie Kirk, by the way. And they want to pretend like they're somehow holier than thou after Charlie Kirk gets killed. You guys were all anti-Kirk. As soon as Charlie Kirk came out and said that Jews created radical left wing in America, as soon as Charlie Kirk came out and said he doesn't want to support the ethnic cleansing in Gaza, as soon as Charlie Kirk came out and said he's sick of being bullied for having a different opinion on Israel, all of you turned on him. All of you turned on him. And your posts are all on the internet and they're all public. And you act like you're somehow holier than thou and, you're Charlie's best friend. Stop it. Stop it. By the way, Ireland is figuring it out. It doesn't want to go the way of the Netherlands. Now let's see what Conor McGregor does. Conor McGregor running for president in Ireland, and the Israeli lobby got him in pocket almost immediately. So Conor McGregor, very pro-Israel. Very pro-Israel. He's in the pocket of the Israeli lobby. So I don't know how this is going to go, but Ireland saw what happened with Geert Wilders in the Netherlands and saw how the Dutch, a populist candidate like Geert Wilders, who seemed untouchable, went pro-Israel, and now he's losing elections. Because people are just sick of it, folks. They're just sick of it. They're sick of the Israeli lobby controlling their foreign policy. They're sick of the Israeli lobby controlling their politics, controlling their politicians. It's becoming an unelectable offense. This is the fact. This is not opinion. It's a fact. They're sick of it. It's everywhere. It's shoved in their face. They're bullied over it. They're done. It's over. So Ireland saw this. Former Trump National Security Advisor Robert O'Brien just slammed Ireland for splitting with the Trump administration on Israel. Ireland's also free-riding on U.S. defense spending and kneecapping Trump's onshoring push, he says in a new paper. Freeloading on U.S. spending? If that's not the definition of Israel, I don't know what is. So no, Ireland saw what happened in the Netherlands with Geert Wilders and said, if we let Israel co-opt our nationalist movement, if we let Israel co-opt our populist movement, if we let Israel co-opt our Ireland First movement, it will die just like it did in the Netherlands, just like it's doing in America. So they're trying to back off of it to maintain its political integrity. But let's see what happens with Conor McGregor. Let's just see how that goes. Because, yeah, folks, I'm telling you, you want to see, this is actually going to be an interesting test. You want to see how popular, you want to see the power of this? I anticipate there's going to be a standoff very soon in Ireland over support of Israel. And Conor McGregor, who's obviously very popular and trying to become a political leader in Ireland, I don't see him changing stance or changing face on the Israel issue. I don't. I'm not sure. Has that really ever happened? Once they buy you, I don't think that's ever happened. Has that ever happened? Yeah, probably don't live to see the next day. Oh, never mind. Take that back. Let's see what happens. If the people of Ireland don't want to hear about Israel and Conor McGregor comes out and runs on that platform, he will be rejected and he will lose. And then that'll be like, okay, there is no amount of popularity. There is zero amount of popularity amongst any individual that can overwhelm the fatigue that these countries have for Israel's influence and Israel's actions. That'll be an interesting test. Poland signs Palantir. Anduril deals amid record army spending. So now Palantir is over in Poland now. Alex Karp is an interesting character. And, I don't like the digital surveillance grid. Okay. I don't like the digital surveillance grid. But you know what? I like people that at least speak their mind and tell us the truth. And I think Alex Karp is maybe a good example of that. Now, I don't like what he says. I really don't even like how he says it. But you know what? Part of me admires somebody that at least tells the truth. I don't think Alex Karp is hiding anything. It's not like these two-faced phonies that say one thing and then mean something else that we have to deal with way too often in politics. I think Karp says one thing and means it. And if I disagree with it, at least I know I'm taking it at face value. Now, he's been making some interesting statements lately. Let's go to Alex Karp on CNBC talking about civil liberties. And is Palantir a threat to these?
A lot of complicated questions because there's it's so funny because, in this book, there's a lot of it's true, but then it's like the surveillance state. So interestingly, I and Palantir have historically been on maximal safety and maximal data protection, and the product is actually built despite, if you're being told Palantir is easy, is the product you use to surveil you, you're the mark. Like, we actually, so how do you have maximum safety where you can still have a personal life? And so like personal life may mean you're just flirting.
Now, by the way, what did he just say there? I'm not sure he's the best public communicator. He's kind of a little choppy. Seems to kind of sputter a little bit. So maybe just not the best public speaker here. But he says, if you're concerned that Palantir is the surveillance state, then you're the mark. What does that mean? Does that mean if you talk negatively about Palantir that the AI kicks in and spies on you? Does that mean that everybody is being spied on? I'm trying to understand exactly what he means there. That seems like a significant thing to say, that you're the mark. Okay, so they're admitting they're putting marks on people. However else you want to interpret that, says Palantir is putting marks on people. I don't know how else you can interpret that.
With the person next to you. It may mean you're at the stadium with someone you shouldn't be. It may mean you're just there alone when you should be at work. We all have things we need and want to do in our private lives. And part of democracy is we get to keep that. And Palantir's architecture makes it possible to have heightened safety and reduced surveillance. Now, you have this issue across Are Americans Safer? A lot of it comes down to, are we going to have a mandate that actually helps working women and men? Because the truth in our society is you're pretty safe if you have money. What happens to you if you're in an environment where you're poor or working class, black, white, Hispanic, anything, is you are then in an environment where people are espousing they believe in what they're saying, while in facto letting you live in a war zone, whether it's the inner cities or the border. We essentially have a class divide in this society where underclass people, white, black, Hispanic, everyone, they absorb all the negative externalities of policies. And those of us who can afford to sit here have a great life. And the real question for our society, in my view, and for AI is, how can we make sure people participate in GDP, which also means they can go home safely, they can go to school, they can come back from school, they can go to the border and not get shot. We don't have fentanyl coming in our society. And, more people have died from fentanyl in the last year than all service members since World War II. And almost all those people are working class. And that's why no one cares. If they were Yale grads, you'd have a bomb being dropped on some South American country, it would stop. And so there's a huge societal thing. Then you get to mass events, and we've seen very destructive to our core assassinations of people who had heroic roles. We saw Abe in Japan, that's outside of America. We saw Charlie Kirk. We've seen the CEO of United. We saw people cheering these things. So in my view, there is the stadium issues, and these are very hard issues. How do you actually protect against drone? There are technologies which are not publicly available that need to be made available that can help. But there's always a risk of something happen, because the only way to take the risk to zero is to eviscerate all our civil liberties. So that's why I'd say, if you actually look at, it's like gun deaths. Guns are not a problem in the society. Guns in the inner city create most of the deaths. So how do you protect the Second Amendment and change gun deaths in this country? I mean, of course, there are other gun deaths that happen, but statistically, and these are what we should do with technology is make sure the people who are living the worst lives live lives closer to ours, and make sure our lives advance as well, but never with the idea that we're going to reduce crime to zero, because the only way to do that is to reduce deviant behavior to zero. And none of us want that, because I'm not the only one who's a freak show. I'm just more open about it. And every single person who's like, oh, and I'll tell you something else.
So, I'm hearing this and I'm like, okay, I think here's a guy who's not holding much back. I think he's saying what he really thinks, what he really feels. I'm a little concerned when he says about you're going to get marked. Maybe that was just a clunky, bad communication, or maybe there was something a little more concerning there. But most of what he says there, I think that we can all agree with. I mean, it seems like a pretty fair analysis. Here's the question. This is really the existential question that we're faced with here with the oncoming surveillance and the AI grid. What is the cost and what is the return? Is it worth it let's say you can never get crime down to zero, but let's say you can get it down to 1% of what it is. And let's say it's going to take, let's just assume all things best. Let's just assume all things best outcome. And obviously that's not a safe assumption to make, but let's just, for this conversation, let's assume all best potential outcomes here. You design this AI surveillance grid. Obviously you're basically trampling on civil liberties. You're trampling on privacy, but you're getting crime down to 1% of where it's at. Would you make that trade-off? I'm just asking. Personally, I would say no. I would say I would not make that trade-off. Even if, let's say you could get it down to zero. Would you make that trade-off? I still don't think I would make that trade-off. No. Those that are willing to sacrifice liberty for safety deserve neither. So I'm going to go with that philosophy. But this is the real conversation. This is the real conversation, folks. And I think maybe this is part of the frustration where it's just like getting stuck in this foreign policy loop. Getting stuck in this Israel loop is so frustrating. It's like a broken record. And for the most part, it's a nothing burger. Now, let me be clear about that. The whole issue with foreign policy and foreign aid and foreign wars is a big issue. It is a big issue for me. It is a big policy issue. Okay? I'm not taking away from how important that issue is to people or how important it is for the future of America. I'm fully in on that. I talk about it a lot. But when you look at bigger picture, the whole Israel thing has been around forever. People have been debating this issue for our entire lives, folks. They've been debating this issue, and Israel's been at war for our entire lives. It's nothing new. And it'll likely be the same in 10 years. Now, whether we're still involved with foreign aid and military aid is another story, but the debate will still be there. It'll always be there. This is the big one. And this is the video I shot last night. I didn't upload. Maybe I'll upload it tonight or tomorrow. Tonight may not be good because of all the election news, but I don't know. Maybe it is good. Folks, this is the big one. This is the big one. You are already in the AI surveillance grid. You're already in it. It's done. Signed, sealed, delivered. You're in it. It's over. You're already in the AI future. You're already in the Terminator future. It's already a done deal. Okay? You're already in Skynet. The tech is already here. The concept is already here. The buttons have already been flipped on. Now it's just a matter of the expansive infrastructure. But it's already here. It's already done. You're already in it. You are already in the future right now. You're in the AI surveillance grid future. And how we respond to this in the next 4 years will determine really the future of how it's applied and how it impacts our day-to-day lives and how much we have to actually transact with this technology throughout the course of our day. And if we don't talk about this and we don't have any pushback and we don't have any response, then yeah, you're eventually going to get full-on 1984 style AI government tyranny. And you'll probably get it before the year 2050, I'd say. That's a safe bet. Now, if we push back against this and we stand up for our privacy and our civil liberties, then we can maintain at least some facade between us and the system. We can still maintain at least some idea or some concept that we're grasping to for life of civil liberties and privacy, even though it's already virtually gone and we all know it, even though it's already whittled down to like a toothpick. We'll cling to that toothpick. And if we need to, we'll kind of stab that toothpick around. But at least we'll have a toothpick. If we don't have any pushback, if we don't even talk about this in the next 4 years, you won't even have a toothpick. You won't even have a splinter. You'll have nothing. You'll have nothing. But you're already in it. It's already a done deal. Think about everything we went through with COVID. And they tried to do this global medical tyranny. And they tried to do all of these mandates over you with the masks and the vaccines and the lockdowns and everything else. But because we pushed back against that and because we denied that and rejected that, We don't have to deal with it now. Now, there's still some medical tyranny lingering, and they're still giving out the shots, and they'll probably still bring it back, and they'll try to get these new vaccine mandates and vaccine passports, and they'll try to have an injectable where you have to carry your medical record around or you won't get access to civilization. They're still going to push for that. But we avoided that. We avoided that because we pushed back. We pushed back against it and denied it, and we avoided that, and now we're not dealing with that. Now you don't have vaccine mandates, vaccine passports, digital IDs. We push back against that. So if we don't have that same approach and that same response now to this AI surveillance grid, this one's a little more of a slow burn. It's not right in your face. So it's a little harder to interpret how you kind of push back and reject it. But if we don't have these conversations and push back on this now, then we're going to get the full force. So we did a great job rejecting the COVID tyranny, rejecting the medical tyranny. Now we've been able to avoid a lot of it for the time being. We have to have that same approach towards this AI surveillance grid, or it's time to start having the conversation. What are we willing to sacrifice? What are the potentials here? How much can we really reduce crime? How much can we really make the world a safer place, or America a safer place? And how much are we willing to sacrifice and pay for that, if it's even possible? How much do we value our privacy? How much do we value our civil liberties? Because we're talking about the elimination of these things in the AI surveillance grid in the name of safety or whatever else. Safety will be, obviously, that'll be the delivery. That'll be the message. That'll be the narrative. But we all know it'll be about control. So how much are we willing to sacrifice? And who's really even having this debate right now? And so, hey, you know what? You might not like Palantir, you might not like Carp. But I mean, I'll give him credit. He's having the conversation. He's laying it all out there. And I at least appreciate that. So at least it's like, okay, here's what the CEO of Palantir is saying. And so now so we can respond and have a conversation. So are we going to have the conversation? Here, we got one more from Carp here. Similar vein. By
the way, let me say something slightly political, and I'm not saying other people agree with this, but when people are attacking our soldiers for stopping fentanyl from coming to this country, I want people to remember, if fentanyl was killing 60,000 Yale grads instead of 60,000 working class people, we'd be dropping a nuclear bomb on whoever was sending it from South America. So it's slightly like we in this at Palantir, we are on the side of the average American who sometimes gets screwed because all the empathy goes to elite people and none of it goes to the people who are actually dying on our streets. And that's why, it's like when you have an open border, it means that the average poor American earns less. I know my fellow progressives believe having an open border is going to make things, but that's because they're actually repping elite people instead of the working class. And the same thing in South America, it's like, to believe our Constitution does not give us the right to stop 60,000 deaths a year of working class men and women is insane. And this country is right to stop that. And I am very proud. I don't know all the efforts we're involved in, but to the extent we're involved in these efforts, I and most Palantirians are very proud of this.
So I would say the only thing I would disagree with him there is that we don't have to be blowing up these boats. We could easily send in whoever we wanted, the Navy, the National Guard, whatever, private forces, honestly, if you wanted to. We could easily be taking these boats in and bringing in the drugs and everything else as evidence and bringing in the bad guys, the criminals, and putting them in jail. So I don't think we need to be blowing them up. But I don't know if you can disagree with anything else he said. Now, you could say that you don't think he's coming from a genuine place. You could say that this is just a sales pitch, a technique to bring in the AI and the surveillance grid. Again, the claim is safety here. That's the narrative. That's the delivery system, but it's really about control. So you can say that, okay, well, I don't believe that that's what really this is about. But I mean, how can you disagree though with what he's really saying in that? I mean, I think he's right. I think he's right. A lot of these issues, he's talking about the fentanyl thing because obviously Palantir is allowing some of its technology and services to be used to blow up these boats. So that's why he's talking about it. But I do think he's genuinely right beyond just the fentanyl issue. Most of the American people, you don't hear about their plight because they don't have the money. And isn't it the total proof of what's going on with the Trump administration right now? Isn't the disconnect more palpable than ever? The big donors and the big lobbyists are getting all the access and all the influence. And now the grassroots, the middle class, the lower class Americans, the patriots, the Trump supporters, they're all being left out. They're all being forgotten because they don't have the money. So I think that goes beyond just what he's talking about with fentanyl. Isn't that the entire political paradigm? Isn't that the entire problem? This is no endorsement of Alex Carr. Let's be clear. But I am listening to what the guy is saying, and I think it's interesting. And I'm keeping a very close eye on Palantir. I'm keeping a very close eye on the AI surveillance grid that's already built. It's already a done deal. It's already a tombstone over our head. But I'm just trying to figure out how deep are they going to bury us in it? Are we going to get access to any light, any air? What are our options here? Ha, look at this. Come on, man. Barry Weiss walked into CBS News and started texting Bibi Netanyahu, Jared Kushner, and Hillary Clinton. Okay. All right. Thank you. Thank you for that. It's not a joke, by the way. That's what actually happened. Oh, boy. Plane crash in Louisville. Oh, boy. They're going to blame this on air traffic control. That's only a matter of time. This is just breaking, by the way. Plane crash in Louisville. 3 dead. UPS jet. You think they're going to blame this on air traffic control and then Trump and then Republicans? Yeah, probably. Probably. Did you see the Kash Patel drama? This is pretty crazy. After called out for flying FBI jet to see his girlfriend sing at a $30,000 plus per flight, FBI Director Kash Patel fired agent he wrongly thought leaked and ordered flight trackers stop tracking FBI jet. He then flew the FBI jet again to see his girlfriend in Nashville during the government shutdown when people aren't getting paid and SNAP is not feeding people. Yeah, that's why it's a fake government shutdown. And, this one is, I've already said that I think you got to kind of ride with Kash. I'm not sure he's doing such a great job. I don't know if that's because he's in over his head or he's being sabotaged or something else is going on. And it'll be up to Trump whether he wants to ride with him or not, obviously. But I just don't know what else you're going to do. Unfortunately, I do find it strange. And I'll just say, too, just full transparency here. I have had interactions with his girlfriend, Alexis. And I understand why people are suspicious, and I'm not going to hold that against you. I'm not going to stand against your suspicions. That's perfectly reasonable. I've had interactions with Alexis, and I found her to be kind and a genuine person. So full transparency. If you think that leads me to being biased, then there you go. That's fine. That's what it is. But I did tell her, I said, I'm still going to be very critical of the FBI and Kash. So she knows that that's the case. I told her that. Because she was messaging me about some other issue that I was having, and she was seeing if there was any way that she could help. So it was kind. And I said, you know what? I appreciate that. I'm going to handle it on my own, but I appreciate that. I'm rooting for you guys, but just so you know, I'm still going to be very critical of Kash and the FBI. So just throwing that out there. But I do think the whole thing is not being handled well. And I don't know why. I don't know if Cash maybe thought that people weren't tracking his jet. I don't know if Cash is just kind of overwhelmed by the whole thing. He's now putting out posts where he's basically defending his girlfriend's honor. And it would be one thing if it was his wife. I could see it being appropriate if it was his wife. With the girlfriend, it's kind of interesting. So it's like, all right, either get married to her and just do this. But when it's just a girlfriend, it's kind of a little, I don't know, it's a little strange. But yeah, it's like the FBI director flying around in the private jet, stuff that he spoke about before he got into the role. While there's a government shutdown and he's going to watch his girlfriend perform. It's like, hey, I get it. You want to go see your girlfriend. That's fine. I don't hold it against you. And maybe you guys are madly in love and you know what? People have been there. You can't be away from each other. It's fine. But then maybe just don't fly on the FBI jet, you know, especially during a government shutdown, especially when people are struggling. I don't know. Maybe somebody gave him that advice. Maybe they gave him other advice. But so it's a whole drama now. It's a whole drama series now, right? I mean, it's just straight out of central casting. FBI oust leader as Patel fumes over attention to agency jet use. It's a nice jet he's flying around on. And I guess he didn't like that people found out, so they fired the guy that they thought was responsible for that. Do you think the FBI director's private jet should be subject to public scrutiny? That's a fair question. I could see it both ways. I could see people saying no, and I could see people saying yes. I'd probably lean to the side of yes, but at the same time, it's like you can understand why maybe the FBI director doesn't want his travel being public. So I've got the solution, actually. I've got the solution to all of this. Just abolish the FBI. There you go. Problem solved. Done. You're welcome. You're welcome. Elon Musk. I've got an Elon Musk clip. What do we want to do with the final minutes of today's show? I've got an Elon Musk clip that's interesting. I've got a representative in Illinois talking about their taxes that's interesting. Let's go quickly. Scott Adams. So Scott Adams, you know, I can't help it. I always see the different angles. I always see a different angle than everybody else. So Scott Adams is struggling with cancer. He's trying to get this experimental cancer drug. He can't get it. He sends out a request on X looking for Trump's help. He immediately gets reached out to for help. So this is really strange here. Now, I want to go right to Scott Adams delivering the news about getting the help after reaching out to the Trump administration.
Some of you know the story that over the summer when the news came out that I was declining, President Trump called me home and blew my mind. But one of the things he offered was he said that if you need anything, let me know. But of course, you have to be careful about, does he really mean that? Does he really mean if you need anything, let me know? He's running the whole country and some would say part of the world. That doesn't seem like something a president could possibly do. But when things aren't working out and you got to try all the doors, I sort of reached the end of one rope, which was I wasn't sure I was getting any health care at all. I might have been. I still don't know. But what I don't know is if they'd even started the process to get me that potentially life-saving drug that I've been trying to get. And so I wrote a message saying that on Sunday, I wrote that I would be asking the president on Monday. Now that would be today. But as you know, President Trump likes to do things ahead of schedule and better than you expected and ahead of schedule. What is it? Below budget, ahead of schedule. And I don't know who he talked to first, but I feel like a lot of things went in motion at the same time. So I was contacted by Don Jr., who was literally in Africa. He's in Africa on a Sunday, And Don Jr. is calling me and saying, Leah, I'm on this. My father wants me to, get this done. Then Bobby Kennedy calls me. Like, what can I do? What's the situation? Dr. Oz calls me. Dr. Oz, what's the situation? How can I help? Oh my God. And then you may have seen that President Trump, best president ever, he posted my message to him that was on X yesterday. It was a public message. And he just said, on it, on it. He was so on it. Oh my God, was he on it? Anyway, it turns out that it turns out that nobody in senior management at Kaiser, my healthcare company, had a good weekend. They probably thought, oh, it's nice to have a Sunday off for a change. They probably work pretty hard. I imagine they work pretty hard. And suddenly their entire Sunday is absorbed by this. Oh, I feel bad about it, but good about it because it might have saved my life. I mean, there's a very good chance.
So think about this. Think about this. Here's Scott Adams dying from cancer and could be on his final days, wants to try an experimental cancer drug to try to save his life, and he can't get access to it. And the only reason that he's able to get access and maybe save his life is because he put out a call to President Trump and they got it done. So good for Scott Adams. And what a story it would be if he takes this experimental drug and recovers and survives. That'd be incredible. But I'm sitting here and I'm thinking to myself, well, what if he wasn't Scott Adams?
Some of you know the story that
What if he didn't have 1 million followers on X? Would he have been able to get the drug that could potentially save his life? What is the deal? Why can't somebody who's dying of cancer get immediate access to an experimental drug at their own request? Most Americans don't have 1 million followers on X. Most Americans don't have the public profile of Scott Adams. And good for him, he does. And look, you can even argue that this is kind of sort of the organic social credit system. Okay, there is an organic social credit system. You do good things, you create good things, you become popular, become famous, whatever. You get a little extra clout in society. It's a real phenomenon. So it's not a bad thing, but it's just like, how many people out there are waiting for an experimental drug and can't get it because why? Because the insurance companies don't care? Because the medical institutions don't care? They won't listen? Because they'd rather continue you on chemotherapy or whatever other expensive treatment that is nothing but a profit center? This shouldn't even be happening. Scott Adams should not have to make a request to the president to help him get an experimental drug that might save his life. Where are the insurance companies? Where are the life insurance companies, the health insurance companies? Where are the hospitals? Where are the doctors? So I'm not trying to take a negative out of a positive here. This could turn out to be a beautiful positive story. It could save a man's life, and then we could maybe figure out that a cancer drug works. That's awesome. I'm cheerleading for that. Let's go. But I can't help but wonder, how did we even get here? How is it that it took this? How many people out there are dying right now and can't get access to life-saving care because what? The insurance companies, the hospitals? Who's stopping this? Why is it such a desperate situation? It's kind of heartbreaking. Well, Godspeed to Scott Adams. And you know what? Because Scott is such a great guy. I wouldn't be surprised if Scott Adams survives this. I bet you that he starts a campaign to make sure that there are no more forgotten voices. Scott Adams is blessed. He's very beloved. He's very popular. And he's probably one of not too many people that could make a request and actually get a response from the White House to save his life. But he did. And I hope his life is saved. And I hope the cancer drug works. And I wouldn't be surprised if he then goes around to make sure there's no other forgotten voices ever. Because how many other people, if there's one, there's 100. If there's 100, there's 1,000. How many people out there are dying from cancer and can't get access to an experimental drug that could save their life right now? And why is that happening? It's very strange. Lauren Boebert's racially charged Halloween costume sparks backlash. She dressed up as a Mexican, and her boyfriend dressed up as an ICE agent. Nice. Oh, that's offensive. Oh my gosh, I'm so offended. Oh. It's the most disgusting thing I have ever seen. Even the conservatives at the party were in shock. People avoided them. A person who attended the party said, yeah, I doubt that. Oh, I've never seen a sombrero before. Oh, I've never seen a guy dressed up like an army officer before. I've never seen a guy dress up in fatigues before. Like, who are these pussies? Boebert's looking hot. Spicy little tamale. Oh, I'm so offended. Speaking of costumes, this is great. This guy, he's a transracial transgender, and he's sick of dealing with the bigotry he has to endure. So let him tell the story.
Guys, it happened again. I was out minding my own business, not bothering anybody, and I got mispigmented. I was at the Dollar Tree. I was picking up some wave caps for the 360 waves I'm growing out. And this guy behind me is like, I didn't know white guys needed those things. And I said, excuse me, bigot? Did you just dead skin me? And he's like, what are you talking about? I'm like, what am I talking about? I was assigned white at birth by a doctor, but I identify as a black man. And this whole time, the cashier's just kind of standing there. I'm like, are you not going to say anything to this racist? She's like, sir, he's an actual black man. I said, actual black man? Do you understand how harmful those words are to transpigmented people like me? You know, and it's just like, how many black identifying white guys are going to have to suffer until people just start doing the right thing and affirming our identity? So the cashier is like, sir, you can either finish checking out or just leave. And I'm like, you keep calling me sir, but I identify as a woman. And she's like, I am so sorry, ma'am. And so I ended up getting like 50% off my order. So anyways, I'm just really frustrated. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Peace.
Well, I think if it can't be applied universally, it's not logic, it's propaganda. And so if you don't think that somebody can be transracial, then they certainly can't be transgender. You know, that's how it goes. By the way, are the kids still partying? Did you hear about this? LAPD shuts down insane Project X style party in Woodland Hills, California. You may recall that movie from the early 2000s, I want to say, maybe around 2008, that Project X movie came out. That massive party. Looks like they did a pretty good job of recreating that. Cops shut it down. I didn't know the kids still partied like this. I thought the kids didn't party anymore. Maybe there's hope. Maybe the kids are all right after all. Maybe the kids still got hope. Did you ever attend a party like this? You ever host a party like this? I actually did one time. I would still say that the party that we hosted, and I wouldn't be surprised if there's somebody listening to this right now that was at the party. Maybe, should we do a little story time before we sign off? Would you guys like a little story time? We're about to sign off for the day. Oh, my mom will love this story. We moved in when I was going to Mizzou, University of Missouri, Columbia. Me and my friends, there were 4 of us to start. I think at the end of it, 6 of us ended up living at this house. But we rented a house, and we rented it after some older friends of ours had rented it. So some older friends of ours that had graduated from Mizzou, they basically passed the lease down to us, and they were kind of known for having big parties, specifically their back to school party. So me and my friends, we were kind of competitive, and we also knew how to utilize social media. So we were like, all right, well, they had their biggest party. I think they said it was like 3 kegs. So we were like, okay, fine. We'll have a 5 kegger. We'll have 5 kegs at a party. So we just blew this deal up. It was exactly like that on the screen. We had a similar party. It was that big. And when I'll never forget, and my friends that were there, they'll never forget this either. So we were like in the back of this neighborhood. We were in the back of this cul-de-sac. So it's like you kind of had to drive through this road and then drive through this cul-de-sac to get to where our house was at. And there was this giant rock. There was this giant rock in front of our house. So people are just, the streets are packed with people. You couldn't get a car through. It was just like you saw in that video. So me and my friend are standing on the rock. We see the cops coming. We see the lights, and we're just kind of standing there. We're like, all right, well, we did it, whatever. So we're just kind of there soaking in the moment. Folks, this thing got insane. The cops couldn't even get their cars through the crowd, okay? Then people started throwing stuff at the cops, glass bottles. It got bad. It got really bad. So eventually, one of the cops gets out of the vehicle and is just fighting through the crowds, ends up just giving us a ticket. I forget what the ticket was. I don't remember what it was. Providing alcohol to minors or something. I don't even know if I ended up getting the ticket. I don't remember. The whole thing was crazy. But it was exactly like that. And so we're thinking like, this cop's going to be pissed. He's going to try to arrest us. He was literally like, just take the ticket. I'm out of here. It's like, I don't even want to deal with this crap. Just take it. I'm gone. I'm out. And it was a lot like that party. You may be surprised to find out that we were evicted from that house not too long after. We had the back to school bash. Then we had some, we were well known to the cops. And then we had a New Year's Eve party, and they evicted us the next day. So don't say I don't know how to have fun. Six Flags America officially closed after 50 years of operation. Did you ever go to this Six Flags in Maryland? Well, if you did, it was your last time, as it is shut down now. No more Six Flags in Maryland. Six Flags America and Hurricane Harbor with more than 100 rides. So what do you do with a theme park that is shut down? What do you do with all those rides and everything else? Did you know there's an actual, what's the guy's name? I have all of his books. I forget his name. Let me see if I'll get this name for you before you sign off. I don't know why I got into this photography. I'm going to get this guy's name for you. But this guy goes to abandoned theme parks. Seth Lawless. I've got all of his books. Abandoned, hauntingly beautiful, deserted theme parks. This is not a plug. I just like these books for some reason. And he goes into these abandoned theme parks, and he takes the pictures of like what's remaining. It's pretty wild stuff. So I guess Seth Lawless is going to have to go to that Six Flags in Maryland to start getting photos of it. I kind of want to see an abandoned theme park. Maybe I should go. Should we do a class field trip? Would you like to do a class field trip to an abandoned theme park and then have a Project X style party? All right, guys, what do you think? We're signing off. Who you got? Man, I'm going to tell you this. I'm kind of in denial, I think, of reality. I just can't believe that Citrielli and Winsome Sears can't win. I just couldn't believe it. Sears is such a great candidate. And Citrielli, it's like, come on, man. He's like New Jersey personified. It's like if they can't win, that's going to be bad news. But right now they're considered underdogs. The first polls just closed. So they're not going to say anything for probably an hour or so. But let me just tell you, as I sign off, if the Democrats win the 3 big elections tonight, Mamdani, and then the governor's race in Virginia and in New Jersey, you're going to see major crashing out from the right. And they're going to point the finger at everybody but themselves. And you're going to see disgusting attacks on Sliwa. I'm already seeing it. You're going to see people try to destroy Sliwa's wife. These people are despicable. And then for the losses in New Jersey and Virginia, they're going to blame everybody on the right that they decided to kick out of the right. They're going to blame everybody but themselves. So this is going to get nasty, folks. This is going to get nasty. Man, honestly, I think the Democrats are going to sweep it. I think they're going to sweep it. And I can't believe it. I can't believe that the Republicans can't win a governor's race right now in New Jersey or Virginia. I can't believe it, but I think the Democrats are going to sweep it tonight, and I think it's going to get nasty. I think it's going to get real nasty tonight. That does it for today's Owens Report. The Owen Report will take a 21-hour break, and we'll do it all again tomorrow. Same time, same channel. God bless and Godspeed.